Well, good evening, everybody. How are you doing today? Oh, come on now. Come on now. Shh. Nope, that's not the one. Nope. Well, I was gonna do a little clap session, because I know you wanted to clap for me. It would have been funny, but I can't get the right sound. Anyway, yeah, please clap. So purportedly, allegedly, ostensibly, an Epstein suicide note has been released. A federal judge released the note today. I literally saw this just as I was setting up for the stream. And it says that Jeffrey Epstein's former cellmate said he found this in a graphic novel. The New York Times has not authenticated that Mr. Epstein wrote it, but they're sure as shit going to report about it and allege that he wrote it. And this is the note. It says, "They investigated me for a month, found nothing!" Exclamation point. Then it's really hard to read. So 10-year-old charges something. It is a treat to be able to choose when or what time to say goodbye. What you want me to do? Bust a nut? No. Bust out crying? No fun. All caps. Not worth it. Signed, no one. But it was found in a graphic novel somewhere by allegedly Jeffrey Epstein's former cellmate. Let's read this story. This has got PSYOP written all over it. A federal judge has released a suicide note, purportedly being the operative heavy lifting word there in the sentence, written by Jeffrey Epstein that was sealed for years as part of the criminal case of his cellmate. They investigated for me for months, found nothing. The note begins, adding that the result was charges going back many years. Now, you read this note and you think, suicide? Really? Seems like a bit of a reach, don't you think? Even with the contents of the supposed letter written by allegedly Jeffrey Epstein, makes no mention of suicide. It makes no mention of his death. It just says he's saying goodbye. Yeah, Jeffrey wrote it last week and mailed it in. It was a mail-in ballot from Israel. Just by a show of hands, who all still believes that Jeffrey Epstein is alive and in Tel Aviv right now? That's just a question. I'm just posing a question, that's all. Mr. Epstein's cellmate, Nicholas Tartaglione Steen, said he discovered the note in July 2019 after Mr. Epstein was found unresponsive with a strip of cloth wrapped around his neck. And didn't we know that didn't Jeffrey Epstein himself say that was because of his cellmate? His cellmate attacked him. Mr. Epstein survived the incident, but he was found dead weeks later at age 66 in the now shuttered Metropolitan Correctional Center in Lower Manhattan. Oh, they closed the thing down afterwards, huh? The note was made public on Wednesday by Judge Kenneth M. Karras of Federal Court District in White Plains, New York, who oversaw the cellmate's case. The judge acted after the New York Times petitioned the court last Thursday to unseal the document and published an article in which Mr. Tartaglione described the note and how it came into his possession. The Times has not authenticated whether Mr. Epstein wrote the note, which was placed on the court docket Wednesday evening. The document remained hidden from public view even as the Justice Department released millions of pages of documents related to Mr. Epstein in a move of unprecedented transparency. The Times searched those records and did not find a copy of the note. A spokeswoman from the Justice Department said the agency had never seen it. The search did turn up a cryptic two-page chronology that described how the note became caught up in Mr. Tartaglione's complicated legal case. The chronology said that Mr. Tartaglione's lawyers authenticated the note, though it did not explain how. Mr. T, a former police officer in Briarcliff Manor, New York, shared a cell with Mr. Epstein while awaiting trial in a quadruple murder case. And if you've ever seen a picture of this guy, it's horrifying. I mean, he's like jacked up on steroids. It's the perfect person to like, he's like the perfect body to commit a strangling, as it were. He told the Times in recent phone interviews from a California prison that he found the note in a graphic novel after Mr. Epstein was taken out of the cell after the apparent suicide attempt. I opened the book to read it, and there it was. Oh, I'm sure of it. It was written on a piece of yellow paper ripped from a legal pad, he said. Well, the paper that we just saw was white, but okay. The New York City Medical Examiner ruled Mr. Epstein's death a suicide. In the years since, revelations of security lapses inside the jail have spawned endless theories about how Mr. Epstein died and whether he was murdered. When jail officials asked Mr. Epstein about red marks on his neck after the incident in July, he first said that Mr. T had attacked him and that he was not suicidal. Mr. T has long denied assaulting Mr. Epstein, who later told jail officials he never had any issues with his cellmate. Mr. T said he gave the note to his lawyers because he believed it could have been helpful if Mr. Epstein continued to claim that he tried to hurt him. Mr. T was convicted in 23 and is now serving 4 life sentences. He has maintained his innocence and has appealed his conviction. The note apparently became part of a drawn-out legal dispute among Mr. Tartaglione's lawyers. Mr. Tortellini, that's right. Documents related to the conflict were placed under a court seal to protect attorney-client privilege, the filings say. Before unsealing the note, Judge Karras asked the parties in the case to provide their views on the Times' request that the materials be made public. The U.S. Attorney's Office in Manhattan, which prosecuted Mr. T, did not contest the note's release. In a letter to the judge, the prosecutors wrote that there appears to be a strong public interest in the circumstances surrounding Epstein's death. So, I mean, we have an alleged motive by his former cellmate of producing that spuriously. Just saying. Where's our handwriting expert? We need to compare, But anyway, I found that to be an interesting story, probably because that's what they want me to believe. They want me to find this interesting, so I'll focus on the fact that Jeffrey Epstein's death was legitimately a suicide. Thank you, Herv Ness, for following. And there's nothing to see here, folks. You see, Mr. T says it all. He spills the beans. Yeah, my hair is looking big because I have my headphones on and it does that. It's actually a wig anyway, so it's not my actual hair. I'm actually bald. Bald. B-A-A-L-D. B-A-apostrophe-A-L-D. Who does this remind you of? Just a grieving widow. This guy's funny. I think it's the same guy that has that, he's a professor and he trolls his students. It's pretty epic. Let's see. Horror. Look at this. The Australian Jewish Association is crying about anti-Semitism on their Instagram stories. And what is the anti-Semitism about? It says, stop the killing of children. Demand a ceasefire. It's very anti-Semitic. Ceasefires, as we know, are anti-Semitic, as well as not killing children. This is Aging Like Milk. I don't know. I don't know what publication this is, but it says Trump is 14 days from a decisive victory in Iran. That was on April 30th. Okay, so we've got, let's see. We're getting closer to the deadline. So y'all saw that Elon Musk is saying his new goal is to reach 10 trillion. He literally said 10 trillion or bust. And right-wingers will genuinely tell you that socialism only empowers the rich and powerful. Meanwhile, this is happening under capitalism. He hasn't even reached a trillion. I mean, he's about to, but he's already set his sights on 10x. Do y'all see who is this? She has a face so iconic. All you have to do is see her silhouette and you know who this is. We're not going to say her name because we all know. There's no need to say it. Marco Rubio earlier today said Iran is run by radical Shia clerics. And this is also Marco Rubio on Fox News. Piers Morgan and Dr. Morandi got into it yet again. The gaslighting from Piers Morgan's show continues. He says, you think you can just bark out instructions as if I'm beholden to the Iranian regime? Let's take a look.
First of all, I asked you to come to Iran. You could have seen what Iran is like.
I've asked you to come here. You haven't come either. So, you know what?
Well, I've lived there.
Yeah, well, you know, the difference between going to England and going to Tehran is that Tehran is at war, and you are manufacturing consent for the CIA and the State Department in their conjured up, contrived story about the Iranian government murking its own citizens. So, you know, Dr. Morandi's logically inviting you, come see what it is. You know, we're not making the same claims about England. So don't make a false equivalence, Piers Morgan.
I've lived there, Piers. Yeah. I've lived there. I've been there many times. Yeah. I did my PhD there.
But have you been to England? If you haven't been to Tehran, then how do you know there are war crimes being committed?
There's a bit of a difference, just so you...
Yeah, but you haven't come, and I haven't come. So we're in the same boat.
You guys are not coming? Come harder.
I've been there times. I was there on the I was actually in that protest that you and I discussed about together in 2003, when you were a somewhat different person than you are now.
I wasn't a different person at all. I was exactly the same person.
Let me respond. As a person, well, first of all, I asked you to read that book, Going to Tehran by Flint and Hillary Lebanon, and I'm sure you didn't bother to do so. But as a person who survived...
To be honest with you, Professor, I know that you think you can just bark out your instructions to me as if somehow I'm beholden.
Oh, my goodness, yes, because Dr. Morandi was totally just barking. Thank you, Tubby Tabby, for becoming the latest YouTube member to the live stream. I appreciate that.
To the Iranian regime over what books I should be reading, but I don't...
Oh, my goodness. Please stop interrupting the clip. Do you understand what you're in for? You are in for a rude awakening, okay? I am the pause champion of live streaming. So now all we're going to do is I'm going to leave this comment up and we're just going to sit here in silence. No staring contest, please. You know what, Martin? Just because you said that. You know what I do? I do reverse psychology. If you tell me you want something, I'm going to do the opposite. How have you not learned yet? All right, ready? Staring contest, go. Oh, fuck. I blinked. God damn it. All right, you win. All right, fine. All right. We'll go back to it.
Really feel that burning desire to read books just because Professor Morandi, the chief propagandist for the Iranian regime, tells me to. Call me naive.
Sure, do what you like. Do what you like. But as a person who survived 2 chemical attacks that your regime helped give to Saddam Hussein, I don't think you or your government or the
I led the campaign against the Iraq war that my government waged in 2003, as you know.
No, that's not when they used chemical weapons, Piers. They used them in the 1980s, and your government gave it to Saddam Hussein. Back then, he was your friend. Back then, he was your ally. You forget that you've waged 3 wars against my country. We're the bad guys, of course, but you carried out a coup in 1953. Then during the revolution, when people were on the streets, your regime supported the Shah, gunning down people. Then after the revolution, they encouraged Saddam Hussein to invade our country. The West gave him chemical weapons. I survived both mustard gas and nerve agents in 2 separate attacks. Many didn't survive, but that wasn't important in the West back then.
Yeah, Piers Morgan, meanwhile, survived brunch. It is a dainty little red cup, and I'm really proud of it, actually. It's perfect for my little cafe, my afternoon cafe. Just a little cafecito, un petito. This loser here. Lord Stephen Phillips, they want us to hide away. They want us to hide away, conceal our identity, and be scared in our own cities. I will not be scared. Off to London as a Jew. Loud, proud, and believer in the Jewish people's right to self-determination in their indigenous homeland. Israelis are not indigenous to the Middle East, okay? Israelis are indigenous to McDonald's. Look at this guy. 3,000 years wandering in the desert. You think he'd develop a tan? He still looks like he's from Ireland. Why does this not make sense? Also, the Jewish right to self-determination? Last I've checked, religious groups don't have a right to self-determine in a national sense to, the right to have a national territory. That's not how this works there, buddy. But yeah, please keep telling us how Islam is, a theocracy. These Islamic states are theocracies, and how we should hate them because of their preference to religion. Excuse me. Sorry, I just I threw up in my mouth a little. This is obviously the face of oppression. I should say the face of the oppressed. So Susan Abul-Hawa says the most privileged, most coddled, overrepresented group in the world insist on being the victims of religious persecution. Gah, barf. And yet, much to their disappointment, no one gives a shit about their religion. People do, however, care about babies not being murdered in mass. And they tend to feel outrage at baby-killing genocidal supremacist megalomaniacs. Yeah, Jews is just a euphemism for all of that. What Jews means to the world is not what well-intentioned Jews mean when they say Jews. It's taken on quite a different connotation materially. Yeah, he looks crushed, doesn't he? Morandi also says Axios is a tool for White House market manipulation. The Islamic Republic is fully prepared for a potential major attack before Trump's trip to China. Dear Christians, the Israelis hate you, by the way. There's another picture of them desecrating Christian idolatry. Awesome. Thank you, Tubby Tabs. Well, now that you're a member, you can catch the lives no matter when, because that is a members-only privilege, I guess I should say. It's also a way of protecting the integrity of the stream and the sustainability of it by only making it available to actual members who support this channel. So thank you for that. Susie O.D. says, I'm funny tonight. Thank you for lightening the load. Take a load off Fanny. Mm-hmm. Speaking of Fanny. Oops, sorry. Excuse me. That was the mud butt special. Yep, I'm buttoned up, neatly combed. You think this is neatly combed? It's a start. Remember that Kurt Schlichter who says, I'm a genocide scholar and Israel is not committing one? Katie Halper says, can you point us to some of your scholarship on genocide? Thanks in advance. That's a joke because he's not a genocide scholar. He's just saying that he is. Because, that's what they do. They've even told us, they're like, we're going to go ahead and just start sending out misinformation. We're going to start, because the pro-Palestine movement is lying, of course, so we're just going to start lying to as if they haven't been lying the whole time. Thank you, Chill the Impaler, for gifting 5 memberships. That's awesome. The community is growing here, and I love that, despite being censored and shadow banned by YouTube, and also receiving lots of comments lately about subscribers who have been automatically unsubscribed, and they've had to resubscribe. And it's like, YouTube, what the fuck? You know, I've lost hundreds of followers in the past few days, and thousands of followers over starting this page. But still, I rise, just like the phoenix. This is kind of hilarious, because the Persian Jewess says, in 1933, Alfred Eisenstadt photographed Joseph Goebbels at the League of Nations. Goebbels smiled until he learned Eisenstadt was Jewish. His smile vanished instantly. His glare became infamous as a symbol of pure hatred. Is it the glare, really, that became the symbol? Or is it the hologram? Is it all of the crimes that were committed? I don't know. Maybe not the glare per se. Because now what you're going to try to do... Thank you, Bob, for the 5 gifted as well. You guys are really, making me feel special. And I appreciate that. But, what she's trying to do is obviously make a false equivalence, because there's this picture going around of Zohran Mamdani's wife giving a side eye to somebody who's trying to take a selfie with her. And so they're trying to manufacture this as like, this is anti-Semitism. This picture, without any context, is just anti-Semitism. It couldn't be that maybe she was just listening to her music at a cafe and some stranger came up to her and she was bothered. But what was the religion of the stranger that was bothering her, of course? Because that makes all the difference. If it was Muslim or Christian, well, sure, that was just a heckler. But if she was Jewish, well, then obviously Zohran Mamdani's wife was being antiseptic. Duh. Why are you doing this to me? What's on my ears? Why am I doing that to myself? What, breathing and existing? Do you have a problem with my appearance? Your mom doesn't. She seems to really enjoy this look. That's why she keeps asking me for mustache rides. I have to oblige. That's why I got the mustache. Literally, I was just trying to please your mother. She won't shut up about my famous mustache rides. They're excellent. They're top-notch. Thank you, Max. Tell your mother I will be there later to dick her down properly. But that's going to be after stream. Okay, after hours. But isn't this just a ridiculous cope? She says, this is the symbol of pure hatred. So his glare was the symbol of pure hatred. Thus, Zohran Mamdani's wife's glare is the symbol of pure hatred. Now look at Ruma. Okay, so her name is Rama Duwaji. I forgot her name. Glaring at Miss Israel. Oh, she's Miss Israel. That's what this is, after discovering that she's Jewish. Hi, I'm Miss Israel. Oh. Wait, are you Jewish? Duh. Different era, and it's the same hate. Well, you know I had to troll her, so I said, "This is like another Holocaust." This is my favorite. Yeah. You are literally Holocausting me. A modern day Yahtzee she is then. There we have it. The verdict is in. Okay, let's see. The Presidard Trump lied about the cost of the ballroom, but there's another angle to this. How does a ballroom go from costing $400 million to $1 billion? That's because it's not just a ballroom. They're building a bunker underneath to ensure, and almost in a self-fulfilling prophecy, that in the event of a nuclear war, the politicians who caused it will survive while we all die. That's why this is so urgent. Never go full chutzpah. Trump's math is always off by about 600%. That might be an underestimate. The only way to survive a nuclear war is to prevent one by stopping these politicians from having a secure bunker where they will be safe. Imagine how much dangerous their rhetoric, policies, and wars will become when they know they won't suffer the consequences from them. The safer the elites are, the less safe the people are. That's right. It's vicious class war, America. Wake up.
We're ahead of schedule and under budget. And all of this money, all of the money paid are paid by myself and donors. And it's all donors. There's not one dime of government money going into the ballroom. Now the military is building a big complex under the ballroom, which has come out recently because of a stupid lawsuit that was filed. But the military is building a massive complex under the ballroom. And that's under construction, and we're doing very well.
The military is building a massive complex. A military-industrial complex, maybe?
So we're ahead of schedule. It's part of it. The ballroom essentially becomes a shed for what's being built under the military, including from drones.
The ballroom's actually a shed.
Including from any other thing. The glass on the windows, you see the big windows. The glass is extremely thick. It's high.
I think the taint is the passageway between the ballroom and the butthole bunker.
Bulletproof glass. So all of the windows are bulletproof. I think the Times wrote, gee, some of the windows are fake. We have no fake windows. They talked about a stairway in the South. We don't have a stairway in the South.
This is what he's talking about right now.
That was replaced a long time ago. But this is a view of it from the north, and that's, if you see it, it fits in with the White House. It's almost a twin to the White House. It's something we just wanted to pay tribute to the White House.
Sure, yeah, pay tribute. Hey, and we built it. That's right, that's our money.
Here's another one. Wait, excuse me, wait. I thought I'd do this now because it's easier. I'm so busy that I don't have time to do this.
But you're gonna do it.
But I'm fighting wars and other things.
Yeah, but let's talk about this ballroom, though. Look, I've even brought a little demonstration for the reporters.
But this is very important because this is going to be...
This is very important. Yeah, we're fighting wars. The economy is in shambles. I'm in the toilet in the polls. But the ballroom is really significant right now.
For a long time, and it's going to be, I think it'll be the greatest ballroom anywhere in the world. It's its highest level. Same height, exact height, if not higher. Same height as the White House, exactly the same height. And if you look, you have the White House over here, you have this.
Yeah, you see, you have the White House, you have the taint, and then you have the balls.
And that's a duplicate of the wall, so it pays total homage to the White House, which is, I think, very important too.
It's beautiful. Look at this. Some Arab woman says, we discovered yogurt too. Or maybe, maybe it's Iranian. So I shouldn't say Arab. I should say Persian. We discovered yogurt too, falude, she says. And this Zionist says, falude isn't yogurt, you stupid bitch. I said, are you crying? You're crying over yogurt? What did the Israelis invent? Except for exploding pagers. Looks like the White House is getting a renovation soon. So Chris Smalls, man, he's so based, and he was arrested yesterday. I guess Jeff Bezos got him arrested after he pulled that stunt where they projected his message on Jeff Bezos' townhome penthouse in Manhattan for the Met Gala. And then I think Chris Smalls, he went to the Met and got arrested. And let's see, Jessica Burbank says, a big thank you to AOC and her team who helped locate where Chris Smalls was being detained this morning. It means a lot to have a member of Congress spring into action and support with this in a moment's notice. So you think, oh, that's good. AOC did a great thing for Chris Smalls. Well, Chris Smalls doesn't feel that way. And he ratios her and says, "That's cap. My team found me. Definitely don't want to give that credit to AOC. Haven't heard from her in 4 years since we unionized." Apparently, Jessica Burbank responds and says, "I am the one who reached out to AOC personally to help locate you. I put her staff in touch with your lawyer. Maybe you could have asked about your lawyer before posting or called." Oh, shit. Well, what, is Chris Smalls now the bad guy? We know he got arrested, but really it's AOC's victory and not Chris Smalls. Some chud on Twitter says, "Why would AOC reach out to you? You were sued out of ALU leadership years ago. You're a celebrity activist. That's great, but AOC doesn't need to kiss your feet." Chris Smalls responds and says, "Laugh my fucking ass off. I'm just a fired Amazon worker, bro." Exactly. My goodness. We're defending sitting U.S. senators in Congress, and we're vilifying Amazon workers who decided to say enough is enough. We're going to do something about this. We're going to organize. It's a bad look. He says, "Secondly, you're just wrong. I never ran for re-election because I didn't want to be suing for elections. Didn't help bring Amazon to the table. Stop believing clickbait, maybe. Lastly, I don't give a damn about a politician. They're not my savior." Guy chimes back. He says, "I don't care about saviors, but I dislike it when people trash the few labor politicians we have." So AOC is now a labor politician, especially over personal grievances. I'll ask you again, why would AOC reach out to you? Because I can't see any reasons she should. Well, he's a labor activist, and he's a well-known one, and he's a significant figure in the labor movement. You're claiming that this is a labor politician. Why would she not, champion one of the biggest voices in labor activism there is today, Chris Smalls? It makes no sense. He says, "Fuck AOC. How about that?" Benjamin Nosferatu says, "I instructed together with Defense Minister Israel Katz to strike now the Beirut commander of the Radwan force in the terrorist organization Hezbollah in order to neutralize him." I love how they always have to precede Hezbollah. Just remind everyone, they're terrorists. Lest you forget, Radwan terrorists are responsible for firing at Israeli settlements and harming IDF soldiers. Yes, the soldiers that were invading their country. The Israeli settlements on what? Occupied land? Come on, prostate cancer. That's all I gotta say. Trump invents new and creative ways to flip off working class Americans every single day, says Nico House. He says, "I thought oil prices would go to $200, $250. It's at $100 now. Even if it went to $200, it would have been worth it," he says.
20%, and we're up. The stock market's higher now than when we started this war.
That's right. The Dow is crushing.
And I thought oil prices would go to $200, $250. It's at $100 now. And I think you're surprised, and I'm surprised. But even if it went to 200, it would have been worth it. I understood that. We had just said a 20%, and we're
what
up.
he's leaving out is worth it for who? I think we all know the answer to that. Anytime, it's like the most basic words uttered by a president, words like we, us, them, America, freedom. All these things you have to ask, who? Whose freedom? Whose America? Whose interests? Who benefits? Who's we? Who is us, Mr. President? 70% of Americans are struggling to afford food, Mr. President. They're struggling to afford housing, health care. Donald Trump is showing renderings of the UFC event planned at the White House right now. Thank you, Constitution. Good evening to you. I appreciate the super. Welcome in. Hope you've had a nice day.
Picture. I think a lot of people haven't seen this yet. I'll give you that. I think you'll probably be able to do okay with it.
Wow. The media's gonna go crazy.
Not bad, right? Championship belt. Dana White was here last night. Did you know that?
The state corporate complex, right? They don't call it that for nothing, as I like to say. Here we're seeing it. It's the marriage of for-profit industries, for-profit businesses, for-profit events, and the power of public office. The president is selling his presidency to the highest bidders.
He was here last night. He loves this guy. He loves all of them. Here's another one. This is another. They're going all the way out, all online. It's all
cool. Is Travis Scott also going to perform at this event?
people invited. Our country is invited to this. It's free. Here's a picture. I think a lot of people.
Our country is invited to this. It's free. Okay. The prophecy has been fulfilled. Gas is now 7-Eleven at the 7-Eleven. And the rapture has commenced. They're building a new world order without the United States. China is telling Arab nations to take control of their own security and move toward a new regional framework, not under Washington, but excluding it. After talks with Abbas Araghchi, the message is blunt. Quote, our Chinese friends also believe that post-war Iran is different from pre-war Iran and has seen an upgrade in its international status. Thank you, Andrew. Juice in U.S. government imported IDF's reason to invade USA, by the way. No doubt. No doubt about that. A new era of cooperation between Iran and the other countries is ahead. Post-war Iran is stronger and ready to deepen ties across the region, and a new phase of cooperation is being openly discussed. You might confuse this for the usual diplomatic language, but it signifies something much deeper. A massive loss for the American empire. A global reset. BRICS countries and partners are building parallel systems, trade, security, influence outside of traditional Western control. The U.S. doesn't lose power all at once. It loses it when countries stop needing it. And this is a cool graphic. Look at that. China, Iran, South Africa, Brazil, India, Russia. It's all coming together. The world is uniting against tyranny. 77 million Americans can't be wrong. And what are we talking about? Is that the people that voted for Trump? Most Americans didn't vote for Trump. In fact, most Americans didn't vote, as we know. Elden Ring, did you see how badly I sucked at that game? And how much you guys shamed me for my lack of skills? I don't know if I want to put up with that abuse again. Would you? It seems a bit masochistic. So look at this. Even X is now using Laura Loomer's real face as an official GIF. Parody Jeff is proud of himself because he's the one that doctors up her images. And apparently Twitter has taken note. And they're now very popular. Laura Loomer trans. Oh, man. Once you're a Zionist, never go full Zionist, never go full Israel, because you will invite all of the pettiness that you promote. All bets are off at that point. There's no hope. There's no saving you. Tubby Tabby, thank you for the super. The main event of the evening, Trump versus Khomeini for UFG. Khomania, Ultimate Fighter Geriatrics Khomania. Oh, I like this. Now that's the real event that we want to see. Isn't it?
The United States has gone rogue. We're actually in war crime land, and we completely failed to do the only thing that was reasonable to take out the Islamic Republic.
We have this schizophrenia in the United States that on Monday, if Donald Trump says, I want to negotiate. They call him a taco. He's sold out. On Tuesday, he says, I have to force them to.
I see. Yeah. Yep. And really, it's not even 77 million Americans. Although, if you're referencing the portion of the population that voted for Trump, then yeah, I completely agree. They're complicit in that. But we know that those people were all lied to. We've all been lied to. It's really a very small sliver of the population that people just need to be educated about. And I think we're seeing that. I recently saw, in fact, I should show you this after this clip, but there's a Pew Research Center poll that just dropped, I think even today, maybe, which showed that the majority of Americans find the Democrats and the Republicans unfavorable. So I think we're seeing a transcendental shift. I mean, you gotta hold hope, right?
Negotiate. He's Hitler.
He failed. He lost the war. I asked you to read that book, Going to Tehran by Flint and Hillary Lebanon, and I'm sure you didn't bother to do so.
I know that you think you can just bark out your instructions to me as if somehow I'm beholden to the Iranian regime, but I don't really feel that burning desire to read books just because Professor Morandi, the chief propagandist for the Iranian regime, tells me to.
Oh, just because the chief propagandist. Piers Morgan is certainly not a propagandist, though. But Dr. Morandi is. Look at this. A rare occurrence. So can somebody pinch me? A former Zionist has turned against Zionism. I don't know who this person is, but Jenny Robinson says, I'm so sorry I was ever a Zionist, y'all. Truly, I was an idiot. Rare moment of self-reflection. Good for her. All right, Red Bull drinking meth head outside White House Correspondents' Center says, here's to more dead Palestinians.
We ask you your stance on Palestine.
Yeah, fuck Palestine.
Fuck Palestine, bro.
Yeah,
Dude, you
absolutely.
like Red Bull? What's your favorite
Fuck
brand
your
of Red
pants,
Bull,
dude.
bro? Fuck my pants,
your
bro.
pants too,
Fuck
bro.
your pants. Why are you looking at my pants, bro? Are you
Your
into
ass
that,
is
bro?
hanging out, bro.
Are you into that, bro? You're looking at my ass, bro? Bro, you're looking at my ass, bro?
How can I trust
Dude,
you
you're
on
looking
your
at my
stance
ass,
if you
bro?
can't even wear your pants
Bro,
right,
you're looking
bro?
at my ass, bro.
Bro, your ass is hanging
Bro,
out,
you're
bro.
looking at my ass. How did it look, bro?
Your ass is hanging
How
out.
did it
It
look,
looks
bro?
pretty bad, actually.
It looks bad?
Yeah, it looks
You have
pretty bad.
opinions on men's asses?
Yeah, yours, because you're
Mine?
throwing it in everybody's face.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
Bro, you're standing
Anyway,
behind me while I'm doing my job.
Here's the more dead
Get a life,
Palestinians, bro.
More to dead Palestinians. Thank you, bro.
Beautiful.
Thank you. You're going live, bro.
Dude, I'm happy.
You're
I'm to
happy?
be live.
You guys, this is 1808 Oxford, Washington, D.C.
Yep.
When you're in DuPont Circle, pay him a visit.
Yep.
Pay this schmuck a visit. Pay this jabroni. You're the jabroni of the day. Take your candy ass in the building, sir.
Here's my house.
Sir, it looked like you were about to cry for a second. Is everything okay?
No, you read people really wrong, bro.
I read them wrong, so
Yeah.
what were you just thinking about?
Nothing. I'm just
Nothing?
sitting here, yeah.
Did you have any crystal meth today?
No, unfortunately, I don't do drugs.
Oh, you don't? Just Red Bull? That's your drug?
That's it.
Cheers, bro. God bless you. Welcome to Washington, D.C. You're good here. Don't worry. You're good. Sir, can we ask your stance on Palestine, please? Sir, can we ask it, please? You look so regal in the wind. You look like a prince in shining armor with his princess. Lovely smile. I see. Your man has a lovely smile. Please tell him to look into Palestine. He's a kind individual.
Palestine.
You guys are like
One free
Cinderella.
And the
Or is it
genocide.
Rapunzel? Don't be like Rapunzel. Shame on you guys. Shame, shame, shame.
Oh, Lord. It's the arrogance for me, you know? It's the arrogance. It's like, it's one thing to just say, oh, man, I just don't know enough about it. I mean, I don't think that flies anymore, but I could at least understand that more than doubling down and being like, yeah, more death. Like, okay, great. You are a spineless coward. Awesome. What is Ghalibaf? What is his position again? Ghalibaf. He's the Speaker of the Parliament of Iran. And he is one of the negotiators, I think. Negotiators with the Americans. And he's trolling.
We ask you your stance on Palestine.
Shut up. He's trolling the Trump administration. He says, Operation Trust Me Bro failed. Now back to routine with Operation, I don't know how to say that, Fozio? Foz? I don't know. Can't say that. This is so weird. Do y'all remember Lucas Gage? I can't make heads or tails of this, but Lucas Gage is the former U.S. Marine veteran, I believe, that sort of went viral last year for the 12-Day War. Remember Boom Boom Tel Aviv? He's the one that made that AI song. And apparently he has renounced his former views, and he's now trying to be as Jewish as possible. I don't know if this is like a political stunt, if it's like one of those examples of a creator trying to prove that when they do this, suddenly they're more accessible to their audience, and they're more accepted. But it says Lucas Gage sat down with the world-renowned wise sage and Kabbalist master Rabbi Yoshiyahu Pinto. Yoshiyahu Pinto Bean, to apologize for his past abhorrent and delusional anti-Semitism and to promise he would do anything necessary to receive true atonement. After publicly walking away from the toxic JQ movement, which, what does JQ stand for? Jewish question? The JQ movement? Earlier this year, Lucas has continued his remarkable personal evolution. Gage took the next step in his journey of teshuvah by seeking out one of the most respected spiritual leaders in the Jewish world. I just want to be accepted by the Jewish world. Fuck the world. I want to just be in the Jewish world. That's the world that matters. In a private meeting, Gage looked the revered Kabbalist in the eyes and expressed genuine remorse for the pain his earlier rhetoric had caused. The pain that his rhetoric had caused. His rhetoric was very painful. Allegedly. He asked for guidance on how to make genuine amends. Rabbi Pinto, known worldwide for his profound wisdom, compassion, and ability to guide even the most lost souls toward... And this is not even a real... that's definitely AI picture. I just don't even know what to believe. But he's apparently eating it up because, like, you go to his page and he says... Look, it almost seems like he's trolling. Because he says, shout out to No More News for hooking me up with Rabbi Pinto. This has led to so many new opportunities. Not only are my philosophy papers being taken seriously, the Lakewood community has also kept their promise. Hate doesn't pay as much as love. Another AI picture of a dump truck spewing out piles of cash. Yeah, I know the picture was fake. So I feel like this is a trolling happening.
What's going on, guys? So yeah, proven right again. This is exactly what I thought would happen. What are you talking about? Well, yesterday I was streaming, and it was my wife's birthday, and I was talking about the day and everything like that. And people were like, hey man, are you going to respond to Stu and Jake Shields? I'm like, respond to what? So I look, and this guy, James Russell, he's like a Jewish reporter. He's been writing positive stuff about me. What stuff? Because I've been calling out grifters and scammers. Literally. Pieces of garbage. Like Stu Peters, which no one called out except me. I'm talking about my circles. He goes, this guy was always a paid chaos agent and single-handedly nuked the most influential line to JQ notices in modern history. I told you. So now he's saying, like, I was right about this guy. Really? Really? So he never did this? Here's Stu Peters, Carlos Cortez, and his scamming buddy, Andrew, all cashing out in the same wallet after transferring funds.
Oh my goodness. We're pocket watching independent content creators who are making transactions of thousands of dollars. Oh no! I mean, can we look at the prevailing political economy at large here? The entire economy is money laundering and international piracy. We're going to say that these people are guilty of what the Epstein class is doing to the tune of hundreds of billions of dollars, if not trillions of dollars by now?
$149. Why is Stu Peters still the JQ movement? Why hasn't anyone driven him out? Why are people still associating with him, retweeting him, supporting him? This AFU thing.
Wait, why? What?
Why did this AFU thing that just happened, America First United, why do they have Uncensored AI sponsoring them? Uncensored AI was helping Stu Peters rob people. See what happens when you have a big tent and no one has accountability? You create disasters.
This is just weird. It's reactionary, and, you know, everything that I've seen out of Stu Peters has been calling out the Epstein class. Now this guy's, I don't know what he's doing. I'm baffled. That's the guy that did the Boom Boom Tel Aviv song, in case you guys didn't know. All right, let's see. Did we... Oh, I think we've seen all of that. Let's move on to other things, as we do. By the way, Eric Warsaw, this guy, was recently banned on YouTube. But there's good news. A day after he posted about it, he actually got YouTube's attention and received his account back. So let's clap for that. Good job, Eric. I'm very happy to see that. I don't like seeing other people that are in the same fight as I am, doing the same things that I am, on the same platforms that I am on, getting silenced. It's not good, so I'm glad that he's back. And make sure you give him a follow. Eric Warsaw on YouTube. Okay. Let's go to the Discord. Okay, we're still talking about Katie Porter, huh? Chief Karen of the Democratic Party. The Democrat Party, blah, 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 thank you for the link, gets put in her place after her bizarre outburst on the debate stage. Porter tried to lecture fellow candidates from her high horse over their decorum and got rocked with a brutal reminder by Republican Chad Bianco. Now, she was, if you were here yesterday, we were talking about Katie Porter and how she was running as the Democrat candidate for governor of California. I don't know if she had to drop out, but I'm not sure what this clip is or when it's from. It says, Porter, quote, "I can't believe that on a stage with 30 minutes of interrupting and bickering and name-calling and shouting and disrespect for everyone up here who's stepping into public service, that anyone wants to talk about my temperament." Bianco seized the moment. Bianco, you were actually interrupting them too. I don't know why you want to act like you weren't. Steve and I sat here smiling at each other because we're just watching you all prove to everyone why they can't vote for a Democrat.
I can't believe that on a stage with 30 minutes of interrupting and bickering and name-calling and shouting and disrespect for everyone up here who's stepping into public service, that anyone wants to talk about my temperament.
How dare you,
You were
sir.
actually interrupting them, too. I don't know why you want to act like you weren't.
Oh, cowboy
Steve and I sat here smiling at each other because we're just watching you all prove to everyone why they can't vote for a Democrat.
It's weird how her head is concave. It's like, it gets larger towards the cranium.
Exactly.
What is that from? What debate was this? I'm all sorts of confused now. Because I thought she dropped out of the race. This is from May 5th. It says. That is for, okay, so I guess she's still in the running, the California governor primary debate. So it's still, I thought she had dropped out completely. Okay. Let's keep going. PNN. Let's take a look.
Excuse me, fine sir. Can we ask you your stance on Palestine? You look like a cool individual, I do have to say. Most of the people around here are douches. When I got closer, I said, this guy's cool. Hold on. We'll give you 1 second to think. Sir, can we ask you your stance on Palestine? Sir, we know what the answer is, but can you just tell us? We already know. We can tell, sir. We can tell Mr. Butch. Can one more time for us, please?
I don't think there's any justification for genocide.
God bless you, bro. God bless you. Thank you for that humanistic response.
Yeah.
We love you. Have a great day.
You could
God
tell
bless
he
you.
had kind eyes. He did the right thing.
If you take away
the right thing at the bare minimum is just opposing a genocide. It's crazy, huh?
Soviet Union and its chief proxy, the PLO, international terrorism would collapse.
If you take out Saddam's regime, I guarantee you that it will have enormous positive reverberations on the region. Third nation, by the way, is Libya. Obviously,
It's funny because it's like it's a good statement that on the face of it says something, but reality sets in and you find out it says nothing. Positive reverberations throughout the region. Positive reverberations for who? What are you talking about? How did you guarantee that? Clearly that didn't happen.
To see a regime change, at least I would. In Iran,
supporting terrorism not only to every part of the Middle East, but to Venezuela.
By the way, what are we doing with Greenland?
Wait, what about Venezuela?
To do something with Greenland.
Why Ethan Klein and so many Israelis hate living in Israel?
I'm just thinking about how much I hate it.
35-minute clip, Gato Surfer. Come on, dude. You know I have a condition. Take my shekels, says Phoenix Blue. I will gladly take them. Thank you. I have great hair, by the way. The volume is gorgeous. What's my secret? If I told you that, I mean, it wouldn't be a secret anymore. I think it's just, honestly, the chatters that show up to my stream, they keep me supplied with a steady stream, no pun intended, of their mothers, and that keeps me youthful. It makes my hair bounce, and that's pretty much my secret. And also, yeah, that's true. Y2 Eyeballs sends me lube in the mail, which is really weird, but I do use it, and I feel a certain way about it every time. But
Israel can't wait to live. It's like if the country's so holy, why does everybody leave?
Would I buy a second-hand car from Yahoo? That's pretty much what he is, right? He's like a used car salesman, but for war.
Dog and garbage everywhere on the ground. If this place is so holy, why does everybody literally take a in the street and I have to walk to it? I get the feeling sometimes it's clean in here.
Dude, this guy's being anti-Semitic. He doesn't like Israel. He's talking shit about Israel.
And goddamn, sir, India.
He's self-hating.
Is in this holy country.
So the video I uploaded last week is one of my most viewed videos already. It's the fastest to hit 300,000 views, I believe. And
yeah,
in that video,
the car that Netanyahu sells anyone is rigged for demolition.
I will recap a bit more further in the video. I basically talked about how the propaganda about what Israeli society is like that we're fed in the West is completely at odds with the reality. So the propaganda often shows us a country that looks like Mediterranean European countries, but is more futuristic, more developed, and compared to its neighbors in the Middle East, it's very tolerant. You can go there and be yourself, and it's great to go.
It's true, they don't hang gays from cranes.
For like LGBT pride, it's great to go just on holiday generally. And
did you hear that, Palestine? They don't hang gays from cranes.
And in the video, we discussed the reality that Israel is like a deeply divided society.
Yes, my girlfriend is drying her hair in the background. It's really loud. I'm sorry. What can I do? What can I do? We have to put up with it, all right?
Society, even amongst Israeli Jews. We talked about the poverty in Israel being really bad. And we also spoke about how a lot of Israel is not a very nice place to live for many different reasons, be it housing, be it jobs, or be it like the very visible effects of Israeli apartheid. And this is in like the conventional understanding of what the Israeli state is. We weren't even talking about the occupied West Bank, for example.
But did you say hello to my cat, though? I mean, I know the blow dryer is going on right now, but look at my cat right here. Isn't he cute?
But I wanted to elaborate on that video even further. For today's video, I wanted to discuss why it's so hard to even find this information online and why you don't really hear about it.
Well, I think we know the answer to that. Israel doesn't want us to know. Is it really that distracting, the fucking blow dryer? God damn it. Thank you, Zyphus, for gifting us a membership to the stream. That's incredibly nice. I do sincerely appreciate all of your support here. You keep me going. Thank you. What's its name again? Regrettably, I named my cat when I got him after an intellectual figure that was, at the time, very influential in my life. And so I named him Professor Noam Chomsky. But now I'm thinking his name is Chairman Meow. Or maybe I'll just go to maybe I'll just start calling him Mozart. That way it's nothing political. I know I'm going to like Mozart in 15 years, no matter what. But really, I just call him Kitty Boy. That's really his name. Yeah, well, I didn't think about that at the time, okay? Germanic Jew Jeff Zimmerman. Germanic Jew Jeff Zimmerman. And here you are with a Jewish name, self-proclaiming to everyone that you're a Jew, but you have a problem with me naming my cat a Jewish name. His name is Kitty Boy, all right? Mozart was not in the Epstein files. God. Is nothing sacred anymore? I'm like, Mozart never supported Israel. Thank God. Every one of my favorite musicians is like, oh, you're an ardent Zionist. Cool. Can't listen to your music now. Sweet Sharts, thank you for subscribing. Oh, those sweet, sweet sharts. Oh, sorry. I sharted as I read that. All right. Let's see. Melania says, most know my husband as the strong commander-in-chief, but his empathy transcends the role and the crowd goes wild.
Most know my husband as the strong commander-in-chief, but his empathy transcends the role and shape a caring leader.
Wait.
Role and as the strong commander-in-chief, but his empathy transcends the role and shape a caring leader who constantly remembers each and every American soldier is someone's child.
Somebody's child that he wanted to traffic. And this is why I'm here. I mean, Donald Trump obviously is, I think we know about his empathy. He's probably the most empathetic president we've ever had. All right, let's take in this clip from Katie Halper featuring Max Blumen-based Blumenthal.
Instantly after this stabbing, Keir Starmer appears in a national briefing and declares that pro-Palestine marches are responsible. The marches, it's the marches.
Take the marches.
And that this is an ancient hatred and that it needs to be criminalized. So what I'm saying is, who benefits?
Always asking the sensible questions.
Set this story up because this is kind of incredible and they do go very well hand in hand. So if you read the headlines, there's a...
Yep, Radiohead. Losing Radiohead was tough. Even though I'd already kind of gotten out of my Radiohead phase, but it's like, damn. There goes my childhood. But have you been to the marches?
A stabbing of 2 Jewish men that happened in London, right?
It fits perfectly with what's taking place with Palestine Action, which is that the British establishment it's fully invested in the relationship with Israel. It's funded heavily.
Yes, this is what we like to hear. And to all of you who think I'm a pause champ, just blow it out your ass, all right? These are the kinds of comments I show up for. This guy subbed to me on all 3 of my accounts, and he's happy. He's happy, and he's Jewish. Clap your hands. If you're happy and you're Jewish, clap your hands.
By extremely wealthy Israel first billionaires, as in the U.S. Keir Starmer relied heavily on pro-Israel money from one billionaire in particular, whose name I'm forgetting, but also who funded Labor Together, Morgan McSweeney's outfit, which is now this, at the center of this scandal. Don't have time to talk about that. The Tories are even more in thrall to very wealthy pro-Israel donors. The Israeli government has a very strong presence, as we saw through the Israel Lobby UK hidden camera documentary in British politics, to the point where the Israeli embassy has issued direct payments to British politicians. Then you have CST, these kind of paramilitary type groups like the Shomrim in Jewish neighborhoods that function as an ancillary of the police. They're very powerful there. You can't, a figure like Keir Starmer, his entire rise should be the subject of a film, because he's like wooden, he's cardboard, he has the personality.
Somebody said my mic is really loud. Is it still too loud?
You have a filing cabinet.
I think I turned it down a little bit.
How did he get there? He got there because the pro-Israel British establishment did not want Jeremy.
I'm a legit blessing to this platform. Thank you. That's why I really want to buy merch from you, a sweatshirt or a t-shirt especially, so I can rep you at my local gym. I did have a merch store at one point from, I think it was on Fourth Wall. But my mic is gruff? What? I thought I sound great. No?
Corbyn to be able to rule. They saw the complete collapse of their entire ideological program in the form of Jeremy Corbyn. So Keir Starmer was just the person who was...
That's right. Selling things is capitalism, guys. Remember, you can't buy or sell. You can't be a consumer in this economy, because obviously then you're a capitalist.
Available, who also had...
Thank you, Violins. I appreciate you confirming that I am not a shitty person and everything is A-okay in the sound department.
Deep connections as the former, DPP, the public prosecutor, someone who was tied into the establishment through, the Trilateral Commission and all these other...
I know, brother, man. Don't bro me, brother. I could smell the sarcasm dripping off the comment, okay? No, it was funny. It gave us a chance to, talk about it.
Their networks. And so he rose to power. So now he is fulfilling his ultimate purpose, as the British establishment fears a complete loss of control in the post-October 7th era. This is all about restoring control. And the restoring control...
Are you serious? You can hear me swallow? Shit.
Control ultimately on behalf of a foreign apartheid entity. And they're doing it through the courts, with Palestine Action, just shredding, enshrined...
Well, at least you know I do swallow.
British rights, like jury equity. Right. And they're also doing it through sort of mass securitization, you exploiting every opportunity possible.
I'm just really glad that you guys can't hear me swallow, because that would be so embarrassing. Sorry. Anyway.
And that's what this stabbing represents. But this stabbing took place in a broader context that I'll talk about in a second. But just to explain what happened here, I guess last week, a very mentally ill man who is, I think, a Somali immigrant to the UK, or Sudanese, I can't remember which, but he's, Muslim, so that makes him the perfect. That's why this could...
That's right, Raven. I take it all, okay? Straight down the gullet, I say.
be classified as terrorism.
Yeah.
He stabbed 2 Jews. I think they were.
They don't call me the throat bone for nothing.
Visibly Jewish, like they were ultra Orthodox, in Golders Green, which is a Jewish majority.
Can I move the mic closer to my mouth and nose? But I can move my cock closer to your mom's. Never mind.
Neighborhood in London. And left out of the whole story was that he stabbed a flatmate or a neighbor of his at his flat who was Muslim.
Right.
Also left out, I mean, this was sort of mentioned in passing. He has a long history of attacking people, including a police officer, several others. He was, I think, committed to a mental institution, and then he was referred to PREVENT, which is the British counter-radicalization program, which raises questions about, his contact with law enforcement over time.
Right.
Instantly after this stabbing, Keir Starmer appears on.
Oh man, read this comment. This is funny. You love how often your wife looks at you in your direction with a disgusted face when you watch me. I'm so sorry to Lemontal's wife. I'm gonna try to really rein it in. I'm sure there's a lot of people disgusted with me out there. It's sad.
In a national briefing and declares that pro-Palestine marches are responsible. The marches. And that, this is an ancient hatred, doesn't relate to any real world events, and that it needs to be criminalized. If you're going to these marches and you're saying globalize the Intifada, then you must be punished. He said that explicitly.
I just want to say to Lemontal's wife, I hear you, I see you, and I will try to do better in the future and not make this so crass of a stream. Oop. Sorry. But I can change. All right, people can change.
This stabbing, just like the shooting at Bondi Beach in Australia at a Hanukkah observance, had nothing to do with the pro-Palestine or Palestine solidarity movement. It has no connection. And this man was just randomly attacking.
Are you serious? People think I curse too fucking much? What the fuck? Are you shitting me? That's fucking ridiculous. I never fucking curse. Except for sometimes. But it's not that fucking bad.
People, including Muslims.
Right, exactly.
So they're exploiting this opportunity to shut down activism that threatens them because they fear a complete loss of control. They've lost the support of the public on this issue, and they're willing to demonize their own base. Keir Starmer demonizing a large
let's hear your track, Thugbone. Come on.
Part of the Labour Party, basically saying if you support Palestine, you support terrorism, and you should be criminalized. That's where they're at. Like,
that's right. I'm a fucking choir boy.
Not even using politics anymore. It's there's no carrot. It's all stick. And so this event took place with, as I said, in the context of a larger series of events. Do you remember
I've totally lost the plot of this video. God, I was once again bamboozled by fart jokes. It happens every time.
Fine, brothers and sisters. We're with the
no, don't ask the Ukrainian Nazis what they feel about Palestine.
Palestine News Network. May we ask you guys how you feel about Palestine?
This is a demonstration about Ukraine.
So no, you don't have any comments on Palestine? Because I'm a news channel.
You see, this is exactly what every Ukrainian supporter does. They all support Israel.
About Palestine, so I don't really care about Ukraine. I want to know about Palestine.
You're welcome to ask any of the representatives.
I'm also welcome to ask you. This is public space. You're out here protesting. You should know there's no expectation of privacy. Ma'am, can we ask you? You have any feelings, any stance? Sir, no feelings, stance?
He should have said, am Yisrael Chai, folks? They would have been like, oh, yeah!
Team Ukraine is going down like this. Thank you guys for your time, Keep up the good fight.
Capitalism encourages competition. We're on the same.
And they own all the big media companies. So
Capitalism encourages competition. We're on the same team. We're on the same team. We're supposed to be supporting each other.
Hey, ever notice how the people who are like super into this whole society as a competition idea are the same people who like cheerlead for the billionaires any chance they get? Like, they are the greatest among us. They must be deregulated and untaxed as much as possible. Has it ever occurred to you that maybe in a competition, implicitly trusting the good intentions of your opponent might not be the best idea? You get what I mean? Like, maybe the things they're telling you, the things they want you to believe, aren't so much because they want to help you also win the competition, but more because they want you to believe things that help.
No, is he really? He's always been so based. What have you found, Martin, that suggests that this guy's anti-Iran?
Them win the competition. You see what I'm saying? Maybe them wanting to own as much of the media as possible is less about them being dedicated to making sure that you're informed and more about them being dedicated to making sure that they control what information you have access to. And maybe, like the richest people on earth being able to fund and lobby, which is a fancy bureaucrat word that means bribe. Maybe them being able to lobby the politicians of the most powerful government on earth, making the global competition essentially pay to win, should be considered cheating. You know, because in man-made competitions, traditionally there are rules, right? And if you kept changing the rules to suit yourself, then it's not really a competition anymore, right? It's just a scam at that point. Maybe blindly trusting the increasingly smaller and smaller group of people who are increasingly dominating more and more of the competition is like a really bad strategy in the competition. You know what I mean? Maybe you should pay less attention to what they say and more to what they do. Because, like, human beings can't even really afford houses anymore, which used to be less true, right? That's a change in the competition. Housing people is what the house is for. So if the people can't afford the house, then it seems like the competition is kind of producing really obviously stupid results. And like, a human job doesn't really pay well enough to provide for a human life anymore. And the purpose of human work is to provide for human life, so it seems like the competition is creating some pretty obviously stupid results. Speaking of paying attention to what they're doing, remember how like a few years ago they were all building like multi-billion-dollar bunkers? It seems like they know that the competition is creating some pretty stupid and unsustainable results. I'd be willing to bet that the thing these bunkers are primarily designed to protect them from is us, the collective outrage they quite rightly expect to be directed at them once the juice is no longer worth the squeeze and this completely stupid and obviously unsustainable competition completely flies off the rails.
the real owners,
The juice ain't worth the squeeze.
the big wealthy business interests that control things and make all the important decisions. Forget the politicians. The politicians are put there to give you the idea that you have freedom of choice. You don't. You have no choice. You have owners. They own you. They own everything. They own all the important land. They own and control the corporations. They've long since bought and paid for the Senate, the Congress, the state houses, the city halls. They got the judges in their back pockets. And they own all the big media companies, so they control just about all of the news and information you get to hear. They got you by the balls. By the balls.
By the balls. By the balls. This is not a good video. Let's see.
My name is Guido Reichstatter. I'm 45 years old. I'm a father of 2 children. I have a degree in math, bachelor's degree in math and physics. Now I'm on top of this bridge because the government of the United States is engaged in acts of mass murder in my name. And I refuse to be complicit in that.
Guido Reichstatter. It's a regrettable name. It's like a slur against Italians and Germans at the same time. Is speaking to Al Jazeera from atop Washington's Frederick Douglass Memorial Bridge. It said end war, but nobody could read it because he was on top of a fucking bridge.
I think it represents.
Legend has it that he is still up there.
President, you released video of that first boat strike on September 2nd, but not the second video. Will you release video of that strike so that the American people can see for themselves what happened?
I don't know what they have, but whatever they have, we'd certainly release. No problem.
You said you would have no problem with releasing the full video of that strike.
Look at his fucking skin. It doesn't look real. It's Goldfinger.
On September 2nd off the coast
I love gold.
of Venezuela. Secretary Hegseth now says...
Oh, you're gonna gaslight us again, Donald Jewish Trumpstein?
You said that. I didn't say that. This is ABC fake news.
Side by side, there it was. He says he'd have no problem releasing the video of the second Venezuelan boat strike. 5 days later, he says, I never said that. But that was in 2025. Bit old. We saw this already. We've seen this clip, too. Thank you, Steve. But no thank you.
Why do you think politics feels more like a team sport than democracy?
Because that's exactly what it became. George Washington warned people about this a long time ago. He called it the spirit of party, and he said once political parties took hold, they'd start serving themselves instead of the public. And that's exactly what happened. Loyalty goes to the machine, not the country. They protect the...
This is AI, by the way.
...brand, protect the tribe, protect the donors, protect the power, and the public gets whatever's left after the fundraising and the damage control.
Why are you sending me AI slop, Steve? Don't joke about the Jews.
Shut the fuck up, you bald fuck. Oh, big boss man, don't tell. I'll tell you, you work for me.
Okay, go ahead, continue.
You little bitch, you work for me.
Sure, you bet. For now.
Oh, you don't?
Okay, continue.
You're literally saying people should be allowed to make Jew jokes, say whatever they want.
Yes, I think people should be allowed to make jokes.
So how many motherfucking Jews have to be killed before you stop?
Hey, you can joke about death, you can joke about rape, you can joke about Indians or dead babies, laughing at whatever the fuck that you wanna. Only one thing is sacred, that's Davy. Don't joke about Jews, nah. Don't joke about Jews, hey. Don't joke about Jews, don't joke about Jews, don't joke about gays. You can laugh about blacks, you can laugh about gays, you can laugh about immigrants in them cages. Joke about anything on this earth, but if it's about Jews, then you might as well save it, bitch. Don't joke about Jews, nah. Don't joke about Jews, hey. Don't joke about Jews, don't joke about Jews, don't joke about Jews, don't joke about
David, you are a homo, retarded shlomo, dishing what you can't take.
Portnoy, the Jewish faggot, stop trying to drag it. Mad at the jokes we make. Erase the rente is losing his mind. Loading my Glock, got him screaming out 9. How about I tell you some jokes, Mrs. Portnoy, and you tell me what's over the line? All of you people controlling the media, changing the weather, controlling our minds. Hollywood pedophile lawyers and slum lords that would do anything for a dime. What if I said something that you ain't like? What if I called you a kike? What if I noticed somehow you make money whenever a colored man spits in a mic? What if I told you that Israel is evil and it's time to rise up and free Palestine? Or maybe all parties involved are retarded and things would be better if all of them died. Especially the children, I hate them the most. Raise up your glass, I'm proposing a toast in honor of freedom to make any joke even though there's a victim within every roast. You can joke about death, you can joke about rape, you can joke about Indians or dead babies, laughing at whatever the fuck that you wanna. Only one thing is sacred, that's Davy. Don't joke about Jews, nah. Don't joke about Jews, hey. Don't joke about Jews, don't joke about Jews, don't joke about gays. You can laugh about blacks, you can laugh about gays, you can laugh about immigrants in them cages. Joke about anything on this earth, but if it's about Jews, then you might as well save it, bitch. Don't joke about Jews, nah. Don't joke about Jews, hey. Don't joke about Jews, don't joke about Jews, don't joke about Jews, don't joke about.
Oh, like, see, there we go. There we go. What are you guys fucking laughing about? Terrible. Exactly.
Don't tell me to shut up.
It's a classic. It's a classic. This guy, I don't know why he's still posting stuff. He's banned. All right, first American report from Iran's B-1 bridge bombed by the United States.
We're here outside of Tehran. Behind me, you can see the remains of the B-1 bridge. This massive infrastructure project was targeted by the U.S. on April 2nd, Nature Day, here in Iran, when at least 2,000 people had gathered in the area to enjoy the scenery. It was struck at 2 p.m. with 3 bunker buster bombs, followed up 2 hours later with 6 more. Horrifying footage shows the moments of the arrivals of these bombs. 13 people were killed that day,
Jesus.
including a 3-month-old baby, a 6-year-old child, and a pregnant woman.
Jesus
This bridge was a massive undertaking for Iran. Construction began 7 years ago, and the total budget exceeded 3 trillion toman, a number that's difficult to gauge in US dollars given the massive inflation and fluctuation in currency prices due to US sanctions. But it's estimated to be well over $100 million. Western press and Western governments claim that this bridge was a dual-use bridge, that is to say that it was being used for military purposes. Local officials, however, dispute that narrative. They say the bridge wasn't even completed at the time of the attack, and there was still a 1-meter gap between the
That pregnant lady's birth canal was also being used for a dual purpose.
sides. The huge amount of destruction you see behind me was
Sorry, it's a terrible joke, but I mean, goodness.
compounded when the U.S. launched a follow-up strike, a devastating attack which injured many who'd come to rescue their friends. Observers say that this points to a troubling trend, a trend of intentionally targeting not just civilians, but civilian infrastructure. It's a pattern that we've seen again and again. Residential complexes.
Thank you, Muter, but it's really not needed because I actually I have a sponsorship with Depends Diapers, the only trusted name for the IDF. They are also sponsoring the stream, so I have a fresh supply of industrial strength diapers, but I appreciate that.
Sports complexes. Here, a huge piece of infrastructure meant to make life easier for everyday Iranians. Reconstruction has already begun, but it's unclear exactly when it'll finish. The Iranians say that they're not going to take this sitting down. Already, they're attempting to launch a lawsuit in the International Court of Justice, hoping to hold the U.S. accountable. For the time being, this massive piece of infrastructure remains in ruins.
That's horrific, man. When was the B1 bridge bombed?
We're here outside.
When was this shared? I don't know. It doesn't say. Okay, cool. Electronic Intifada. We don't really catch them lately. Hezbollah is using drones that Israel has no defense against, it says.
This is the fiber optics. This is the first time they've shown us the obvious spool. And essentially that bottom part that you see there with the nose spits out something equivalent to a fishing line, and it drags it behind while it's flying. The commander, the controller, is literally connected to the device. There's no radio signal that could be blocked by electronic warfare or by hills or by buildings on those hills like we've seen in these previous videos.
Things look sophisticated.
This is something that we've seen in the war in Ukraine, where entire
The drone looks like it's pregnant. It's about to deliver a child.
villages are just covered with what it looks like fishing line, but are the fiber optics, and there's really no defense against these. A commander.
You can hear the birds in the background? Wow. Yeah, those birds are actually real.
Told Army radio, there's not much to do about it, said a commander currently fighting in Lebanon. The briefing the troops receive boils down to be alert, and if you spot a drone, try and shoot it. So that's where they're at with it. And you can see the warhead on the top. That is the PG-7 VL. It's an Iranian-built anti-tank warhead that can do considerable damage. And fiber optics just mean that when the controller presses forward, down, sideways, any move, it's instant. And that just makes flying these, that's part of what makes them
Whoa, right on the Merkava.
Tool. And it's easy to build them. They don't need expertise. These can be sent all across the 100-kilometer front line. They are able to basically switch their tactics.
Yeah, the chair's not doing too well. You're right. I kind of blew a hole through it at this point. I've been dropping some heat-seeking missiles into it, and but yeah, no, $7 for a new chair. That's gonna be great. We're gonna have the best chair.
Anti-tank missiles.
I'm just messing with you. Thank you for the Uber.
Missiles, which are dangerous, and the crew operating those anti-tank missiles are susceptible to counterstrikes. These drone guys can hide in a place that's safe. The key is it carries the warhead, and Hezbollah has figured out how to carry the warhead in a few, literally weeks on the Ukraine battlefield, took 6 months, according to drone operators there. But once fiber optics came to the Ukraine battle, it definitely has turned the war on its head as well, because there is really no defense for these.
And we've seen footage as well, sometimes pretty terrible footage from Ukraine of these drones being able to target individual soldiers on whichever side.
The Israeli public's response to the footage that we see...
Well, these birds, shut the fuck up. Quit singing your tune of happiness. Fucking birds, man. Birds are literally for the birds.
From Ukraine of drones chasing individuals, and you see their last moments alive. I don't think Israel's society is going to do well with that, given the history. So this was the first week that we actually saw that. Everyone could see how the soldier died. We know his name. Everyone who knows him saw how he died. It just doesn't...
Dude, they started it. How could I not be mad? They started a war of aggression against my ears. It's literally a hate crime. It's the supreme criminal act, actually, committed. That's what the UN says. And you see, they stopped because they realized the error of their ways.
It seems sustainable that Israel will be able to stay in South Lebanon under fire like this to carry out destruction on the level that they apparently intend to.
It always goes back to that, huh? We just can't enjoy nothing. Mass protests erupt in New York City over a West Bank real estate event. Shut it down. Shut it down. Now that's our slogan. Shut it down. Isn't it funny that when we say words that the Jews say to us, they say that's anti-Semitic? Okay, Thugbone, where's your song at? Where is... Oh, here it is. Thugbone is an Ableton user, like myself. Oh, shit. Right leg, left stomp. Look at that. Look at the tracking. That is impressive. It's lots of squares and rectangles going on. This is what I sing to your mom every night. Oh, we breaking it down now. Yeah, late 90s orgy music. There you go. I'm pretty sure I heard this at an Epstein party one time. I was there with Palm Beach Pete. Look at all this shit he's got. Look at all these plugins. Thugbone wrote this song for me. He says, I've got the rhythm that he likes. Well done. Everybody, please clap for our talented Thugbone. That was very nice. See, it looks like you guys have been sharing a lot more stuff. Oh, this just made the cut. 14 minutes. Operation Wings of Dawn. India secretly relocating 6,000 spies to Israel.
You have to understand the relationship between Israel and India. India now is subservient to Israel because the U.S. said to to India, you need to be subservient to Israel. And this is why we'll be looking in the next few years about 6,000 people from India. There is an area, a community called Bnei Manasseh community. They're going to be going to Israel. I have it on a good authority that already on April 2023, and I was in one of other locations in Europe, 240 Indian citizens went to Israel.
Okay.
Makes you wonder.
They're going to need a lot more than that.
From northeastern India. There's an area called Mizoram.
Yes, Mizoram, yes.
Mizoram, and there is another one called Manipur.
You know, I learned that from the Jews. You can actually convert to different ethnicities. Just like Burnt Face Man, who used to be Indian but now is Chinese.
Manipur, yes.
Well, guess what? And again, you're not going to read this anywhere else because it's sensitive stuff, but those fall under, there is an operation called Operation Wings of Dawn.
Okay.
Okay? So, because here is how they are approaching it. They are approaching it from a religious perspective. Okay. They are claiming, this community is claiming that they are descendants from a biblical lost tribe.
Oh, okay. God, put a sock in it. Who cares? Of course. I want to write my own miracle book.
I mean, obviously there's a intense flurry of diplomatic activity happening, and in the media outlets that are preferred by the Trump administration, like Axios, they're really pushing this idea that the U.S. and Iran are on the verge of signing a one-page memorandum of understanding that wouldn't be a comprehensive deal, but that would stop the acute phase of the war and then provide a framework for a range of negotiations, beginning with an opening of the Strait, some form of a non-aggression agreement that Iran would want to apply to all of its regional allies. But this is the U.S. version of the story, and there's sort of a pattern that we're watching unfold here, which is that the U.S. and Iran have been indirectly negotiating primarily through the mediator country of Pakistan. And what they've been doing is exchanging amendments to a 14-point framework that they've been discussing. And what happens is that when the Iranians submit their amendments to it, Donald Trump begins posting things on Truth Social, and then leaks begin to Axios and other news outlets, and they try to create a momentum that is intended on putting pressure on Iran and making it look like the U.S.
I got to pee so bad. I'm going to be right back. Let's listen up. Make sure you take notes. This will be on the quiz.
is being reasonable, Iran is being obstructionist. In reality, the U.S. consistently injects into this framework maximalist demands. Trump has claimed that he wants to get an unconditional surrender of Iran. When the Iranians respond to Trump, they denounce the Iranians. And then Trump goes online and he threatens to bomb their civilization or to carry out another bombing campaign that's going to be more intense than the last one, which was the case of what he did on Wednesday morning after these reports started that there was going to be some kind of a deal. You know, I talk a lot to Iranian sources, including Iranian officials. And the top line that I think is important to emphasize from the Iranian perspective is that they are very quick to remind anyone that twice in a single year, the United States claimed to be negotiating with Iran, only to turn around and conduct massive bombing of Iran, even when there was another round of negotiations scheduled on the books. That happened in June of 2025 when the U.S. and Israel initiated the so-called 12-day war, and it started on February 28th when the U.S. and Israel launched a massive bombing campaign against Iran that went on for many weeks. The wild card here that the Trump administration seems to have genuinely been taken aback by and shocked by is that Iran didn't fold. Iran didn't capitulate. The United States and Israel assassinated the upper echelons of Iranian political and military leadership and the supreme leader of Iran, all within a 24 to 48 hour period. And the Israelis clearly had pumped the administration, the Trump administration, with contaminated intelligence, trying to convince Trump that the whole government was going to collapse within days of them doing this. And yet what happened is that the Iranians, despite these massive assassinations that had been unloaded on Tehran at the beginning of this war, put up a ferocious retaliatory defense. They caused the evacuation of more than a dozen American military bases. They were able to penetrate, including with conventional aircraft that they have, warplanes, the borders and boundaries of GCC Gulf countries that are housing American military bases, and they conducted airstrikes that actually killed American soldiers. And it's very clear that the U.S. has been concealing the extent of the damage that the Iranian...
I'm back, and you guys better have been paying attention. What did I miss?
...inflicted on U.S. military infrastructure in the region. Then the
Iranian... you see, I knew it. I knew you guys were passing notes, probably trying to sabotage this classroom, because we have adults, literal adults, behaving like children. And I'm not going to mention any names. Don't tell me about the thing, huh? Okay. I'm going to find out. That's the thing. That is the thing. The thing is that I always find out. Now, you can come clean now and save yourself. Maybe. Or you can start cutting your underwear so that it rips easier. Choice is yours.
That they had a powerful asymmetric weapon that they could unload and unleash in the Strait of Hormuz, despite the fact that the United States, with its ultra-powerful Navy, was deployed, and Trump talks all the time about his highly effective military blockade. The United States military has been unable to force the Iranians to capitulate any of its control or management of the Strait of Hormuz. And so what we're looking at right now is a situation where the Iranians say that they are fully...
I accept your apology.
...engaged in the diplomatic track, that they are doing indirect negotiations. They say they won't do direct talks until the United States formally lifts the blockade on the Strait of Hormuz. They are sending amendments back and forth with the United States, but they say that they have their own red lines. They want any ceasefire or non-aggression pact to apply to all...
You know, it's funny, Saeed, that the moment that I step away, suddenly you pipe up. You pipe up in the chat. And it's pretty fitting. But thank you for the compliment. No, but this is just a wig. I think everybody knows that by now, right?
Allies. Israel is engaged in massive bombing of southern Lebanon right now. It continues to engage in intense ground operations. Hezbollah, which the Israelis claimed was basically wiped out, has been ferociously fighting back Israeli attempts to conquer or take more of Lebanese territory. The Israelis are threatening to resume the very intense, larger-scale genocidal operations in Gaza right now. The Iranians say that they want an actual ceasefire to be imposed on Israel. That's a wild card, how the Trump administration is going to respond to that. The Iranians are also saying that they are not going to do any negotiation on their highly enriched uranium at the front end of any deal, that there has to be a framework first, that there has to be sanctions relief, that there has to be a
lot of y'all don't know this, but Saeed's uncle used to play badminton with Osama bin Laden in the 70s when they were in college together. Did y'all know that? Saeed is actually the son of a wealthy sheikh who became an oil baron later on in his life, and Saeed actually inherited... Mr. Satnav, thank you for the subscription. That's very based of you. But yeah, Saeed basically inherited the family empire by killing his brother Syed. He has a brother named Syed. and he killed him with a Hamas rocket when he was just 17 years old. His sister Amal wanted to marry a man, but Saeed would not approve. He kept her living on the family estate, basically as a hostage. That's how she felt, at least. Meanwhile, Saeed's marriage was falling apart, but he became consumed with seeking revenge on his father's killing so he could consolidate the family empire. And at one point, Saeed began taking the money he inherited from his father's oil business and he invested it in Marjorie Taylor Greene workout videos. And for a while, he was making a killing. I mean, lots of dinar, if you know what I'm saying. But then he squandered it all through gambling and addiction. But a lot of you don't know that, actually. So I thought maybe you would be interested to know. The legend of Saeed grows.
Unfreezing of tens of billions of dollars in Iranian assets. And the
Wait a second. No, wait. That was the plot of The Godfather. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. That everything I said about Saeed, that was not true, actually.
Iranians are saying right now that they're not going to agree to a removal of their 60% highly enriched uranium from Iranian territory. What the Iranians, I understand, have offered is to suspend for some defined period of time nuclear enrichment. They're talking about not clearing the rubble from some of the nuclear sites that the United States and Israel bombed for a defined period of time. But they point out
The Sheikh Father, yes, part 2.
Negotiations on Iran's rights to enrich uranium are highly technical, and the United States has refused to send any actual experts.
That's what I'm going to start doing every time, is inventing new Saeed lore stories, but basing them off of movies that are well known. Because, I mean, let's be honest, he's an international man of mystery. We don't know much about this mysterious figure.
To the negotiations, with the exception of a team that they sent to Islamabad recently. There could have been a deal on all of this. This war was a war of choice. What Iran was putting on the table back in February when the United States, in the middle of negotiations, decided to launch this war was, in the view of the Iranians, a highly flexible proposal that in some ways would have extended beyond the terms of the 2015 Iran nuclear deal, the JCPOA. And so this whole
I'm tired.
process, if it does result in some sort of a memorandum of understanding, if it does result in serious technical negotiations on nuclear matters and other issues,
It's the real Kaiser
it's a
Soze.
damning indictment of the fact that the United States, in part because of Israel's agenda, decided to go on this massive war against Iran, and they were shocked when the Iranians didn't capitulate. And in fact,
No, in fact, I don't. I suspect that he's from Qatar. Because this stream is also sponsored by Qatar, in whole or in part. But I like to think of Saeed as my Qatari handler. And I just want to thank him for the dinar, for my dinar. Because the poor boy's got to eat. Anyway. Qatar, if you're listening, I want you to know Operation Wet Summer is going according to plan. We have begun Phase 2, aka Project Splinter Cell for PS5. And we have officially achieved fully enriched obtanium, Saeed. Which, as we know, is needed to take down the thin flowers.
Iran has achieved one of its core objectives. It is quite clear that Iran is not going to just stand by and allow itself to be bombed periodically.
No way. Did you really? Dang. I got that right? I was actually saying that your brother's name was Sayed, so Syed. It's like there's Saeed, and then there was Syed. But in a duel, you guys clashed over the family empire. That was my story, at least. But now you're saying you had a brother who died before you were born. That's so sad. I'm sorry to hear that.
By the United States and Israel.
Truly.
It said going into this, it wasn't going to allow that it wasn't going to choreograph its retaliation.
Well, we just learned an actual fact Through all the lies that I just spewed about Saeed's life, actually, we just got to a kernel of truth. So there you go.
That it wanted to send a message that would force the United States and other countries to think twice before they engage in any military adventure.
Jay Holt, I don't think you can count. I really don't think you can count to 3.
In Iran. So the status right now is part of a pattern where the U.S., because Trump is desperate for an off-ramp, is trying to force through a deal. What we don't know is what concessions the Iranians might be willing to make. It's clear that the Trump administration already is making concessions. They announced this as a regime change war. They said they want unconditional surrender. That hasn't happened. And the Iranians have shown that that is not going to happen. So where things stand right now is it's highly possible that Donald Trump and Benjamin Netanyahu are going to resume the bombing of Iran, that they may do another round of assassinations of Iranian leaders. That's always a possibility. It's also possible that we're heading toward a deal that Trump is going to try to spin as a victory, as though he should be praised for putting out small portions of the massive, intense fires that he himself started. The Chinese government is going to be a major...
I mean, whatever you say, Saeed. Whatever you say. If you think MTG is hot, I guess she's hot.
Figure
Who am I to judge?
in whatever happens next. The Iranian Foreign Minister, Abbas Araghchi, arrived in Beijing early on Wednesday morning and is holding high-level talks with Iranian officials. Trump is scheduled to go to China in roughly 1 week for a state visit where he's going to be meeting with Xi Jinping.
That's going to be awkward. Trump is going to China.
The Chinese government has perhaps the single largest stake in what happens in the Strait of Hormuz. And the Chinese leadership has been increasingly outspoken in its condemnation of what the U.S. is doing in Iran, the responsibility of the U.S. For creating the crisis that exists in energy markets and the flow of supplies through the Strait of Hormuz. So the U.S. narrative on this, which is often sort of pushed through with the conveyor belt media outlets that are preferred by the Trump administration, often is just leaks of the wish casting that the Trump White House does, combined with this attempt to try to make it seem like the Iranians are the ones obstructing a deal.
Wish casting. That's the new vocabulary word. Everybody understands what wish casting is.
When the reality
it's not forecasting, it's wish casting.
Is this was a war of choice from the very beginning.
Okay, I told you, Alien Wrench, that we were going to drop the hammer if you kept doing this, and you have, so you are no longer a part of the Discord situation. And again, people continue to make AI slop about me. You taught me the word avuncular, where clearly it didn't stick because I still have no idea what that word means. Guys, do something better with your time. Don't make AI slop videos. About me, especially.
שעות אחרי התקפת הטילים האיראנית אתמול על איחוד האמירויות, שבועות מאז שהוכרזה הפסקת האש, איראן שוב שיגרה הערב טילים למדינת המפרץ.
אתמול קיבלנו איזושהי הפתעה, סביבות השעה 5 אחר הצהריים קיבלנו התראות לטלפונים. זה הגיע ממש באופן לא צפוי, כי הייתה באמת תחושה שהכל חזר להיות כרגיל.
כל זה קורה כשבדובאי מבלים תיירים ישראלים שלא ויתרו על החופש למרות הפסקת האש השברירית.
תענוג, האמת שתענוג פה. היו לנו אתמול 6 התראות. אנחנו בסך הכל נהנים פה, טוב לנו, גם פגשנו פה הרבה ישראלים.
אנג'ל זמיר ומשפחתה היו בדרכם בערב.
All of this is connected to Gaza.
לכפר הגלובלי, אחת האטרקציות הגדולות שיש לדובאי להציע, ואז החלו ההתראות.
The fact that we're not able to stop the Gaza genocide is the reason why there's missiles flying over Dubai right now.
אתמול רק הכפר הגלובלי נסגר, באנו איך שחנינו, הוא נסגר בגלל ההתראות, אבל היום שוב פתחו
Look at that nose, my goodness. That is quite a schnoz.
אותו.
ומעמד ההתראה עצמה, חוץ ממני, אף אחד לא קם להתמגן, ישבתי במסעדה, מסביבי היו 30 אנשים, ואני היחידה ככה שקמה להתמגן.
באיחוד האמירויות אין מרחבים מוגנים.
איפה מתמגנים? בחדרי מדרגות, בחניונים. בחלק מהחניונים שמו שלטים שלטר זון, בחלקם יש גם מתקני מים וכיסאות, כבר ממש התחילו להיערך.
אנג'ל ובני משפחתה ירדו לקניון לקומה -1, עניין של תרגול.
באמת שהתחושה הזאת לא מלחיצה בכלל, כי...
No, I have not seen the Jon Stewart, Amy Goodman chat, but you can sure as hell share it here, and I'll take a look.
Today, Donald Trump is portrayed by the Democrats and much of our media as a demented madman for not only bombing bridges and power stations in Iran, but also his threat to destroy an entire civilization, his threat to bomb Iran back to the Stone Age. So too is his Secretary of War and DUI hire, Pete Hegseth, who's vowed death and destruction raining down from the skies all day long on the people of Iran. And they are sadistic, sociopathic figures, to be sure. In an age of cartoon villains, there's some of them, they stand out. But who said this? I was suggesting that we blow up all the bridges on the Drina. I was suggesting that we take out his oil supplies.
I was suggesting that we send American pilots in and blow up all the bridges on the Drina. I was suggesting we take out his oil supplies.
That was Joe Biden on the Senate Foreign Relations Committee referring to NATO assaults on Serbia, who said this: the aim of the war on Yugoslavia is to demolish, destroy, devastate, degrade, and ultimately eliminate the essential infrastructure of the country. That was Wesley Clark, the NATO commander, as quoted by Michael Parenti. So Donald Trump, if we understand what Michael Parenti was getting at and read his work, we understand that Donald Trump is not just some maniacal, irrational aberration against an otherwise sober-minded leadership which favors negotiation to civilian slaughter and mass destruction. He is the most honest face of the capitalist and, I would add, militant Zionist class that he serves. And he and those around him know exactly what they're doing. They are the embodiment of what Parenti called rational fascism. And they also know that they enjoy...
Yeah, remember when Parenti said it was the rational outcomes of an irrational system.
Total impunity when they do it. That's why none of the U.S. military or political officials who ordered the killing of thousands of civilians and billions of dollars in property damage in Yugoslavia ever faced any legal accountability for their crimes. As Parenti pointed out, the International Criminal Tribunal for the former Yugoslavia was set up by Madeleine Albright with U.S. funding in total violation of the UN Charter, with no precedent in international law and no mandate from the World Court. It was essentially a U.S. court in The Hague. And it was a product of the same so-called U.S.-led rules-based order which has protected the perpetrators of the Gaza genocide. It's a system in which the U.S. makes the rules and everyone must follow their orders.
Yep. How many times do we have to say it, and how many different ways can we say it?
First of all, as far as oil prices, remember, for the UAE, they realize that they're in a fight to the death with the Iranian regime at this point. They want it gone, and they know that the United States has to have longevity in its position to maintain the blockade in Hormuz, or even to go back to war. And both of them are, to some extent, compromised by the fear in the West, and in Asia especially, that oil prices will go through the roof and economies will tank. And that's really deterring to some extent most nations. I'm not sure it's deterring President Trump, but it's certainly factoring in. He's certainly aware of these factors, and he's certainly considering them. So for the UAE to say what it says helps, as you said, reduce the pressure on oil prices, which is a very important strategic move in its own right now to give a certain level of comfort to the United States to continue to pursue an aggressive policy against Iran. And that leads to the second part of what you said, which is that UAE is all in on Iran. They are all in with in the same position as the Israelis have, not because the Israelis control them, but because they see the strategic logic of where everything is going. Bottom line is they understand that if they don't deal now with the Iranian regime threat, then that threat will come back to haunt them, if not in a month or two, in a year or two, and certainly if not then, in some time in the future, and if the president lets down his guard in 3+ years, you could have a president that's not very friendly to the UAE or to Israel, and they know, therefore, that they have to now deal with this problem.
Jews! Sorry, I have Tourette's.
First of all, as far as...
Sometimes I go around in public and I just scream, Jews! Just for no reason at all. It scares people. It really scares people. Why are you sending me bad empanada videos? Yeah, crappy anti-imperialist. Why would we watch that? You know? It's like, why would we do that? Oh no, some Aussie has an opinion. He's usually just policing other leftist content creators on their purity fetish. You know? It's like, yeah, I don't want to waste my life watching your content. The contrarian for contrarian's sake, that's what it is. Au contraire, monsieur. Should we take in a podcast? Let's see what YouTube has right now. See, we got some. See what my subscriptions do. Dialogue Works. We love Dialogue Works. Who did he interview today? All the usual characters. Let's see. Glenn Deason. Alliance system collapses. Let me put this on while I look for more content to farm.
Again, it's on pause while Marco Rubio said that Operation Epic Fury, as the war is called, has already...
Oh, really? You like the Scott Ritter segment? Which one? The one that we just saw? I mean, the one that was on the screen? Because I could go back to it if it's good.
All objectives and has therefore been concluded. I was wondering, what do you make of these statements? Are they trying to walk back this disaster in terms of returning to a war, or do you think this is just a deception, temporary retreat before they ramp up again?
Well, the latter would come to mind as a matter of practice of the Trump administration, including the Secretary of State / National
Donald
Security
Trump,
Advisor,
my president,
Marco
my
Rubio.
commander-in-chief.
The statements he made yesterday were just egregiously wrong. The Secretary of State of the United States of America says categorically a blockade is not an act of war. What the hell book is he reading?
Lath? I don't know who Lath is. Let's see. Here's a shorter clip from Daniel
Donald
Davies.
Trump, my president, my commander-in-chief, tell as many lies as he wants to make him feel good about ending this war, because this war needs to end. But understand it's ending on terms dictated not by the United States, but by Iran. Normally, When policy is made, it's done through an interagency process of coordination. I've participated in that, deputies meetings at the White House Situation Room that then percolates up to the principals meetings where the president is then briefed and decisions are made, and then once again it percolates down and people implement that. And the whole time people shut up about it because the only people talking about this are the spin meisters who only spin that which is allowed to be spin because it's policy being implemented and you don't want to give away the guns. But this is we don't have any of that taking place. There is no interagency process taking place today. We are a nation where policy is formulated in the brains of literally an insane man who then puts it out either through spontaneous statements made to the press or Truth Social. I mean, Truth Social has become a part of American policy. We literally operate through declarative policy statements, often contradictory, made by the president on his social media platform. This is unprecedented in history. And as a result, we have dysfunctional policies. And we have dysfunction throughout the totality of everything we do. Let me give you an example, Colonel. You're familiar with the fact that we were talking about deploying Dark Eagle to the region.
Yeah.
The hypersonic weapon. Well, and this is a game changer. I mean, you see how the media runs with it. This is a game changer. Dark Eagle changes everything because those Iranians had pulled their missiles back beyond the 300 range of our precision strike missile. And so we needed this weapon to come in and put them at risk. The Dark Eagle.
What the fuck is the Dark Eagle?
1,750 miles of hypersonic range to strike precision and destroy. And I'm like,
you could be a good cheerleader, by the way, if you decided to do it.
The Dark Eagle, or long-range hypersonic weapon, is a U.S. Army ground-launched missile designed to fly at speeds over Mach 5. It's funny because Iran has missiles that are going like Mach 10. Or even more than that, and maneuver in the atmosphere, making it hard to intercept. It features a 1,700-plus mile range. They're getting desperate, and apparently they only have 8 of these. 8 missiles, and it takes them like a month to build one, just one. It features a 1,700-plus mile range, aiming to hit time-sensitive, high-value targets. CENTCOM has sought to deploy it against Iran by 26, marking its potential first operational use. It's giving Hitler has miracle weapons. Just wait. These new miracle weapons are going to turn the tides of war. We all know how that turned out. Key aspects of the Dark Eagle hypersonic missile: performance and design. The weapon is a boost glide system where a booster accelerates the missile. It sounds a lot like they're trying to play catch-up, right? Because Iran has pioneered the hypersonic missile. And now we're like, oh, well, we've got hypersonic missiles of our own. Look, surely we can compete. They have 8 of them. That's what Scott Ritter was saying. And a maneuverable common hypersonic glide body separates to fly toward its target at over Mach 5. Designed for long-range precision strikes. While plagued by testing delays, it passed several tests in 24. The U.S. Army is currently fielding the weapon to units like the 1st Multi-Domain Task Force, developed by the U.S. Army and Navy with Lockheed Martin and Northrop Grumman, leading development. U.S. CENTCOM requested its deployment to the Middle East by April of 26 to target Iranian missile launchers. Oh, what? The ones that you can't find because they're underground? They say it's 15 million per missile. It's actually something like 41 million. Here, let's listen more about them.
I guess I could become a Pete, but the point is, I'd have to deal with reality.
Right.
I'd say, well, first of all, it's never been fully operationally tested. People need to understand it. Yes, it's done a number of operational tests, but you know that the Pentagon still doesn't know how lethal the warhead is. There it is. It may not work 100%. We don't know how lethal it is. This is supposed to be a hard target killer. I mean, it's supposed to penetrate in, and we don't know because we've never tested it. They're afraid to test it. But the other thing is, let's say it was a hard target killer. How many of these do we have? I mean, because we just finished a war where we fired hundreds of Tomahawk missiles, hundreds of joint standoff munition. We got 8 of them. They cost, now the Pentagon will say they cost $15 million each. That's a lie. They cost $41 million each. $15 million is the projected cost once you bring things up to production. But these 8 missiles cost $41 million each. They don't work. We don't know if they work. And even if they did work, we fire 8 of them and we're done. We can produce 1 missile a month. So the Iranians will be sitting there going, well, you fired 8 at us. I guess we'll wait another month for the other one to show up. So, yeah, are any targets worth this much? The answer is no. So, but this literally is the embodiment of the entire American campaign against Iran. Overhyped capability. Your audience needs to understand this. We didn't destroy anything of value in Iran for 39 days of a bombardment. Okay, we blew up empty buildings. The stuff that was in these buildings was evacuated, and we did not penetrate. We dropped a lot of GBU 57s, the big penetrators. 4 of them didn't blow up, and the Iranians own them right now. They've got them. They're reverse engineering them. Other munitions, they have a whole bunch of our munitions. There's an extremely high dud rate with our precision-guided munitions. During the Gulf War, it's still a classified number. I was surprised to find that out because I was going to write an article about it, and then I did the research. I'm like, well, I guess I can't write this article because the dud rate of Tomahawk missiles during the Gulf War is a classified number. Now, you can guess why that is. Is it because it's a very low number or a very high number? You get to make that decision, not me. But in 2017, using the Block 4 variant, we fired like 63 of these against Syria. 23 of them didn't work. Now, I'm not a Marine. I'm not very good at math, but that's like more than 1/3 that didn't work. And that's in 2017. You'd imagine things got improved. Are you beginning to see the picture here? Our stuff doesn't work. It doesn't work the way we
claim. That's what your mom said, Scott Ritter. She said my junk worked.
It works. And so we're firing missiles that don't work against targets that don't exist. In 1991, I was part of the targeting infrastructure that took over.
Oh, okay. So you're a war criminal.
Saw the strategic air campaign against Iraq, in particular against Scud missile production capabilities, etc. And I have to tell you, I mean, I was impressed. I mean, I saw the reports. I did the imagery analysis. I was like, we destroyed everything, man. We blew up their factories. We blew up everything. Then I went to Iraq as a weapons inspector. Unique. I was the only person to do that, go from targeting to inspecting, on-ground inspection. And I realized we blew up a bunch of buildings, but there was nothing in the buildings. Nothing. It had all been evacuated. And I'm like, well, then we didn't destroy anything, did we? It was the inspectors that now had to hunt down the stuff
well, that's
that was...
because, Saeed, his mom said that it was forceful enough and fearful enough just by looking at it.
In the building and get rid of it. But in the General Al-Ubaidi, who was the deputy of the defense industry, he became the oil minister. He commissioned an Iraqi battle damage assessment report because you remember we had I forget what his name was, but the guy from Johns Hopkins who wrote the air power survey and how we won the war with air power. And air power is so good and almighty and powerful and wonderful. And so the Iraqis did their own survey. In 1996, the survey was ready, and I didn't get a copy of it, but I got to see it. He invited me to his office, and we went through it because he wanted to make a point. He said, you didn't destroy anything. Here it is, bomb by bomb by bomb. Every strike, they recorded it, and they showed what the impact was. We didn't destroy anything against Iraq in the Gulf War. And now, I'm just telling you right now, we didn't destroy anything in Iran. You think the Iranians are scared right now? They're rebuilding everything that we blew up. People don't understand that. This is a nation that's in reconstruction mode. They're putting in new bridges. And if we blow it, this is the same thing the Iraqis told me. I remember him saying, you guys are very good at blowing things up. And he said, but we're very good at pouring concrete. The difference is when you blew things up, nothing was in that building. But when we finished pouring the concrete and we put things back.
All right. We can move on, I guess. Although to what, I'm not sure. Ooh, my goodness. U.S. intel analyst who served 30 years for passing U.S. state secrets to the Israeli regime is running for Israeli parliament. Jonathan Pollard, the colonizer, calls for the forced removal of Palestinians from Gaza. But hey, once we get Nosferatu out, then everything's going to be fine, right? Right? Oh, gosh, not this.
Historically accurate statement saying that it's time to call the so-called West Bank, Judea and Samaria, in America, which is right. The West Bank suggests that the territory that is to the west of the Jordan River is somehow sovereign Arab or Jordanian territory. That's why it's called the West Bank. Right? Because the West Bank of the Jordan River. But that territory was lost by Jordan in the 1967 war.
Oh, it was lost by Jordan. Nice try, Shapiro-Stein. Lost. That was a war of aggression. The world community still calls on Israel to vacate those territories ever since 1967.
Israel has been in control of it ever since. There's only a 19-year period.
But we control it now, so therefore it's good. Might makes right.
In which Jordan was ever in control of that territory between 1947.
Yeah, we start wars and commit international terrorism, but we win.
In 1967. And the notion of calling it by
Look, he's really trying hard. Like, how am I going to get through this to make it sound palatable to my audience?
Historic actual name and its current name, Judea and Samaria, makes an awful lot of sense. He's introducing legislation to that effect. According to Cotton, the bill would require the use of historically accurate terminology. And
he's talking about what? Who's that? He said Cotton. Is that Tim Cotton? Who is this guy? Isn't he a senator? Yeah, or Tom Cotton, sorry. It says, given your interest in the Dark Eagle missile, you are likely referring to Senator Tom Cotton. Yes, given my interest in the innovation of this hypersonic missile, I must be talking about a sitting U.S. senator, of course. So he's talking about shit that's happening in Israel and why, why the United States should introduce legislation to change the name of the West Bank, which is Palestinian territory. It's part of the integrity of the geopolitical unit that is recognized as sovereign by the international community that belongs to Palestine, the West Bank. That's what, despite Ben Shapiro, that's what the rest of the world has said and given formal, acceptance through the mechanism of the UN and the resolutions that have been passed. But it's just weird, right? I mean, why is the United States drawing up legislation about a foreign country and what we should call it? Where was my tab? Shit, I forgot.
Align U.S. policy language with the geographical and cultural significance of the region. He says the Jewish people's legal and historic rights to Judea and Samaria go back thousands of years. The U.S. should stop using the politically charged term West Bank to refer to the biblical heartland of Israel. The Israeli people have an undeniable and indisputable historical and legal claim over Judea and Samaria. At this critical moment in history, the United States must reaffirm this, says Congresswoman...
Oh my God, is he stroking it while he reads this?
Claudia Tenney from New York. She says this bill reaffirms Israel's rightful claim to its territory and remain committed to defending the integrity...
This is how Ben masturbates.
...for the integrity of the Jewish state and fully supporting Israel's sovereignty over Judea and Samaria.
Does he know that he can, pronounce words, too? He doesn't have to speed run and gish gallop his way through his points. It's not going to make him any more or less true. He's foaming at the mouth trying to get this shit out. Who is scared of Peter Thiel, Alex Karp, and Benjamin Netanyahu? Not me. Not you. Harrison Smith says, I've never even heard of the Jews on July 11th, 2024. And now he says, I've come a long way. Laura Loomer is a victim, guys. She's a victim of the Islamic savages. She says she's being targeted by the Iranians, according to the FBI. Just like Tyler Robinson kirked Charlie, according to the FBI. Just putting this on the record in case I'm murdered by the Islamic savages. Would you eat at this restaurant in Thailand? Just straight to the point. No Israel. It's got like all the flags up there representing all the countries of the world. But just as a notice, no Israel, please. Thank you. Can you show us Alex Karps were really doing it? I don't know what you're referring to, but if it has to involve Alex Karp, can the answer be no? Imagine a building a half mile wide. Now imagine that building stretches from Seattle to Portland. That's what they're gonna build in Utah. What? Utahns showed up in droves to oppose it. The 3-man county commission passed it anyway. This is democracy. So yeah, I mean, did you hear that they're building the world's largest data center in Utah? This guy says, I don't normally advocate for string music, but they're making it very difficult here. That's insane. So a building a half mile wide, and it stretches, I mean, hundreds of miles, the distance between Seattle and Portland, which is the same distance between my balls and my anus. I'm sorry. That was just a taint joke. Why does Utah need a 63 square mile data center that will require more than twice Utah's current total electrical consumption? Why does the country, for that matter? The Mormons are going to be up in arms. I'm sorry about that, Thugbone. You're right. That was too soon. That was way too soon. Democratic socialism is dead. Tanky communism is the new frontier. Are you ready to go on an adventure? Blakely's got cigarette earrings.
Experience yesterday that reminded me of why I love New York. I was trying to get into the subway using my phone, and it kept denying it and denying
Blakely, can I get a smoke?
it. And as the train was coming, I heard the A coming. I'm like, oh my gosh, I need to get on there. I'm trying. Some guy next to me, just some random guy that I don't know, goes, go, and tapped it so that I could run in and make the train. That is the New York spirit. I had an experience yesterday that reminded
Kuwait also denied Trump access to airspace for Project Freedom. People are saying that that's why Donald Trump had to pause Operation Project Freedom, was because, look, see, Trump allegedly tacoed out of Project Freedom because Saudi Arabia would not let them use their airspace and bases. Do you guys remember when Donald Trump said that Mohammed bin Salman was an ass kisser? And that is not a person you want to call an ass kisser. And I think he took that as a huge insult, and it affected his stance on his relationship with the United States, Saudi Arabia's relationship with the United States, for that matter. Here's another Scott Ritter clip. It's only 20 seconds long.
I'm not saying it didn't happen. I'm just saying that I'm not going to comment on something that I don't have hard evidence that it actually occurred, especially given the panic of the thing. It appears that it was an American munition that struck, the UAE oil facility, not an Iranian drone attack, as people, as the UAE likes to say. I'm not saying it didn't happen. I'm just saying that I'm not going to comment on something that I don't have hard evidence that it actually occurred, especially given
about the U.S. behind the attack on the UAE. Wow. That wouldn't be too surprising though. So apparently Suleiman, friend of the stream, we know and we love Suleiman. He's on here a lot. He was supposed to debate Rabbi Shmuley earlier today. Look at this. And I think it actually was supposed to happen a couple days ago. And Shmuley, the butt plug rabbi, bailed like a little bitch. Not once, but twice. 3 times a Shmuley. Shmool me once, shame on me. Shmool me twice? The shmooled man can't get shmooled again. Masterpiece, thank you. So the Iran Lego guy calls Trump a pedo, and fair enough, but they let men marry girls at age 8 years, 9 months in Iran, pot calling kettle black. I don't think so. What's your source on that? You're really here to spread FUD on Iran at this moment when we're being ruled by satanic pedophiles? I guess the source is what, your crack pipe? Can you show me one example of an 8-year-old girl marrying a man in Iran and it's sanctioned and promoted by the government? Or are you just spewing Islamophobic nonsense right now? It's like, yeah, sure, everything about the Trump administration and, the Epstein files and the Epstein scandal, okay, sure, but what about the vibes, though? What about the vibes that I get out of Iran? It's like you still want to spew this shit even though we know it's not true? Yeah. Saeed's like, look, Saeed doesn't even like Iran, but that's a fucking lie. Masterpiece is a Zio shill. Look at that. It's pretty suspect, Masterpiece. Pretty sus of you. You got to start re-examining your stance here. Is this really a fit for you, this stream? Or should you go back to the kids' table and enjoy your chicken nuggies? Or was it mom's spaghetti this evening? Master Rage Baiter, more like, yeah. I'm so gay for the Strait of Hormuz at this point.
Is there a deadline? Can you expect it to arrive?
Never a deadline.
Thank you.
It'll happen. It'll happen, but never a deadline. Thank you.
Is there a deadline? Can you expect it to arrive?
No deadline on Trump's Iran deal. He's wheeling and dealing. Not. Trump on the Pope. Whether I make the Pope happy or not, Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon. He seemed to be saying they can. I say they can't.
You've had some recent back and forth with Pope Leo. I understand Secretary of State Marco Rubio is going to meet with the Pope tomorrow. What message do you hope he delivers to the Holy Father?
Well, I can tell you this, that as far as the Pope is concerned, it's very simple. Whether I make him happy or I don't make him happy, Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon. And he seemed to be saying that they can. And I say they cannot. Because if that happened, the entire world would be hostage, and we're not going to let that happen. That's my only message.
Trump has one card. It's to fearmonger about a nuclear weapon that doesn't exist. Donald Trump on the stock market, though, it's a record day.
But I thought we'd be down maybe 20%, and we're up. The stock market's higher now than when we started this war. And I thought...
But you thought it was going to be down.
Oil prices would go to $200, $250. It's at $100 now. And I think you're surprised, and I'm surprised. But even... I thought...
I have all the cards. What, in Uno? Because the goal of Uno is to not have cards. So you're losing. This is hilarious. Trump says, we had some good talks. No, they didn't. And then all of a sudden, the next day, they forgot what happened.
Some insight as to where we are with them at this point.
And we've had some good talks before, as you know.
Right.
And all of a sudden, the next day, they're like, they forgot what happened.
It's because they're actually not talking to Donald Trump. And he keeps lying and saying they're talking to them. And then the Iranians will say, no, we're not, actually. And you can actually know that is true because when Donald Trump says, okay, we've announced a pause on Operation Project Freedom, who does he cite as the country that, brokered this pause? It's not Iran, it's Pakistan.
They're proud, like these guys are proud. Nobody more proud than these guys. Sometimes they fight on pride because, they're injured, they're hurt. No matter how great you are, you get hit by somebody else that looks like them. It's very tough, but they have great pride. These people have great pride. The others do too.
Some insight as to where
we are. He's just a bloviating idiot. He just complete nonsense out of his mouth. Trump on Iran's missiles. Their missiles are mostly decimated. They have probably 18 to 19% left. Not a lot.
They don't have any radar left. Their missiles are mostly decimated. They have some. They have probably 18, 19%, but not a lot by comparison to what they have. They don't have any radar left. Their missiles are mostly...
He says that every day. But they're still going at it. You're facing an opponent in Iran that has refused to submit, says a reporter. Why do you say they refused to submit? You don't know that, says Trump. Reporter, they fired at U.S. ships a few days ago. Trump says a few days ago is a long time ago. They want to make a deal badly.
You're facing... Well, try it. Wait, this will work. You're facing an opponent right now in Iran that has refused to submit. You seem optimistic now that you may be closer to a deal. What's different about this moment now than in other moments where a deal has seemed close?
Well, why do you say they refused to submit?
Dude, that's so awesome. Yes, you're so correct that I am a guy on the internet and I am sharing my opinion on my channel. So what does that say? The fact that I'm communicating you through the prevailing media of our day, that I must be a hypocrite? Are you defending Donald Trump? Are you making a false equivalence between what I'm doing, which is correctly decoding the gaslighting by our president, and our president himself? Are we the same? So we're just two bloviating idiots, huh? Did you just learn that word on this stream? And what's really funny about that? You're a guy commenting on a guy's stream, some online guy who's talking about the bloviating idiot that is our president. So where does that put you? You're pretty low on the totem pole. Why are you here? What are you doing here? You think you were bargaining from a position of power by sharing these trollish comments like you're doing something? You keyboard warrior? You can't even talk. You're limited to your little two thumbs. You're seething right now, brooding as you watch me. Hate watch me, in fact. God, this guy's just a bloviating idiot. Oh, he's got his own channel and he's talking. I don't like it. I'm not gonna put my phone down though. I've got an opinion. Everybody stop everything you're doing. The keyboard warrior has an opinion. And I wonder if he's tried crying about it.
Know that you don't know what's
They were
going
firing
on.
on U.S. ships a few days ago.
Yeah, no, a few days ago is a long time ago. In the world of war, a few days ago. No, they want to make a deal badly. And we'll see if we get there. If we get there, they can't have nuclear weapons.
Masterpiece, you're out of here, okay? Be gone with your cucked self, you CIA shill. Bye-bye! God, I love that. The block button. The block button, bitches. That's where it's at. We are a ban-heavy stream. You come in here talking that trash, we'll pull your car.
You're facing. Well, try it. Wait, this will work. You're facing an opponent right now in Iran that has refused to submit. You seem optimistic now that you may be closer to a deal. What's different about this?
He paid $10 to get banned, so that's fun.
This moment now that in
He paid me to ban him.
other moments where a deal has seemed close.
Money well spent. It's an education, you know? Sometimes you got to dole out the hard lessons in life.
You say they refused to submit. You don't know that. You don't know what's going on.
They were firing on U.S. ships a few days ago.
Yeah, I know. A few days ago is a long time ago. You know, in the world of war.
Oh.
Days ago. No, they want to make a deal badly.
Thank you, Clausewitz. I couldn't see too good. The world of war. Craft? Donald Trump thinks it's a video game.
I had a phone call with the president a short time ago, and he is optimistic about this this deal, this memorandum of understanding. Thinks it is going to lead to things. He's cautiously optimistic, I should say, but thinks.
Sorry, it was card, not car. I'm sorry. I was really, you come in here talking that trash, and then I started thinking about NWA, Eazy-E. And I misspoke, okay? Pull your card. Excuse me. Thank you for the correction there. I'm white. I'm oppressively white, okay? I don't know my rap lyrics. I'm sorry.
And I asked him what the time frame would be. He puts it at a week, getting everything wrapped up. I had a phone call with the president a short time ago, and he is optimistic about this this deal, this memorandum of understanding. Thinks it is going to lead to things. He's cautious.
Yeah, somebody did a picture of Donald Trump. If his face was the color of the skin around his eyes, which is like real white, because he can't spray tan that little part, and it's terrifying. He looks like Casper the Ghost.
Cautiously optimistic, I should say, but thinks. And I asked him what the time frame would be. He puts it at a week, getting everything wrapped up. I had a phone call with the president a short time ago, and he is optimistic about this this deal, this memorandum of understanding. Thinks it is going to lead to things. He's cautiously optimistic, I should say, but thinks. And I asked him what the time frame would be. He puts it at a week, getting everything wrapped up. I had a phone call with the president a short time ago, and he is optimistic about this this deal, this memorandum of understanding. Thinks it is going to lead to things.
The memorandum of understanding.
He's cautiously optimistic, I should say.
It's like the dildo of consequences.
Thinks. And I asked him what the time frame would be. He puts it at a week.
I mean, listening to the president and taking his word at face value, I mean, come on, it's a definition of insanity. This guy's mentally ill. He needs to be removed from office. He's a psychopath, a narcissist, and he's a very powerful person at the moment. Here's footage of Israeli strikes hitting Beirut's southern suburbs. So lots of footage from Lebanon. Apparently Israel is bombing Beirut still, brutally.
ضربي هون يا شباب. يا عالم في حدا هون؟ في حدا هون؟ في كهرباء عم يكهربوا العالم كلها. ما حدا يدعر الماي في واحد هون.
هيدي ثانوية الشهيد قعير. هيدا المبنى اللي انضرب يا 4 طوابق يا 5 طوابق.
ضربي هون يا شباب.
So, hey, bitch, the Goyim are waking up. Deal with it. Let's see, let's go back. Are you all still sharing things on the Discord or what?
I remember when the St. Porphyrius church bombing happened, I was like, the cousins and family members of a former U.S. congressman were some of the victims in the bombing. But somehow, like, evangelical Christians would make so many excuses for Israel. And I'm like, they're bombing your brothers and sisters in Christ. Like, how is this okay? And what made me so sad, because I started realizing that all these organizations who I thought would support, unfortunate people, because you have Samaritan Spurs, run by Franklin Graham.
That was nonsense.
We are now in week 9 of our 4-week war with Iran, and it has
Probably going to get copyright for this because it's the Daily Show. They're insane in the brain. He's quoting Cypress Hill. We're to be singing Sweet Home Yerushalayim, slapping the bass. Maybe they should start. Logged onto his backup account. He's back again. He's still trying to fearmonger about Iran. Oh my God, dude. You get a life, you. Go talk to girls. I swear it's not that scary. He's got a picture of himself this time. I'm sure his name is Gerald Fitzgerald. See if he comes up with a third way to pay me.
North Carolina congressman and guy who's not bald, so stop asking. Turns out...
Guy who's not bald, stop asking. Come back. Peter Porker, we're up to number 3 now. That's amazing, dude. Keep going. Keep going. You're crushing it. You're definitely making a strong case for the CIA. You ask that, Saeed, because we know that you are no stranger. You're like the good troll. You'll anonymously gift from these burner accounts. So I think you know what he's doing. I think you have some experience.
Did you know there were a handful of American troops who defected to North Korea? That's right, some of the American soldiers who were stationed over there learned the history and saw what was going on, and they switched over to the communist side. And if you ask ChatGPT about this, it'll tell you that most of them later regretted their decision, but that's actually not true at all. Look, see, I got ChatGPT to admit it was wrong. See, the American media tries to claim that these guys made a bad choice, but most of them lived out the rest of their lives happily in the DPRK. Joseph Dresnick went over in 1962 and became an actor in anti-American Korean propaganda movies. He would be married twice over there, have children, and lived out the rest of his life in the capital city of Pyongyang until he passed away in 2016. The one guy who did later end up regretting his decision was Charles Robert Jenkins, who went to North Korea to avoid being sent to Vietnam. Can't say I blame him for that. Larry Allen Abshire crossed the border in 1960.
Okay, well, what does it mean then? Dispense with the knowledge. And don't you mean bratwurst?
62 and lived out the rest of his life in the DPRK working
bratwurst is brat best, actually,
as an English teacher. Jerry Wayne Parrish defected in 1963 and worked as a broadcaster teaching North Koreans about the evils of American imperialism.
Thank you, Peter.
Joseph T. White joined the North Korean population much later in 1982, where the American government said that he was being held hostage, but his family received a letter from him in 1983 saying that he was happy and teaching English. The American media, of course, claims that it was forged, but the world may never know. And it might seem crazy that any Americans would go to North Korea, but if you know what happened in the 50s, it makes more sense. The U.S. unalived 20% of the Korean population in the Korean War, which is one person in every family of 5. A lot of these guys just learned that history, saw the devastation firsthand, and witnessed the South Korean government, which was a fascistic dictatorship at the time. And they're like, oh shit, I'm on the wrong side. So yeah, pretty crazy story. It must have been pretty weird living as a white guy in the DPRK. You're going grocery shopping and the Koreans are like, what is that? But reportedly, they treated these people pretty well. They called this guy Comrade Joe. Shout out to Comrade Joe.
And you never told us what the word means, Saeed. You're gatekeeping bratwurst from us?
their intention is to try to goad people into reacting to their antics. That's always their that may not be their stated goal, but that is what they do. And so this was a clip that I found that just it hasn't really made the rounds, but I found it on Instagram, and it really tells an incredible.
Yep, little kitty boy is sleeping. He's literally a circle.
Right?
Aww. He's like, who that?
Story, because you have to listen carefully to what everybody is saying here, from the person who's filming it to the person who's being questioned. Let's set the stage.
Set it, Peter.
This is a cafe that is owned and run by a Palestinian, and he has to deal with a Jewish Zionist in his store.
Are you calling for Zio Hunter?
Oh, this is definitely Zio Hunter territory for sure.
Okay, all right, we're calling for Zio Hunter.
Here we go.
Nicely done.
Call the police if you don't leave. Please call the police. I'm not causing a disruption. You work here? You need to leave. Sir, you need to leave.
Let's start again so you can see the headline. A Zionist provocateur wearing a Star of David that was ejected by the owner and then removed by police.
Disruption, I'm gonna call the police if you don't leave. Please call the police. I'm not causing a disruption. You work here? You need to leave. Sir, you need to leave. I don't need to leave because this is a private business. You're being asked to leave.
You absolutely do have to leave. If they ask you to leave, you have to leave.
Escort you out. Please stop. You want me to escort you out? Please stop. Leave my business. In front of my son. Get out of my business. Stop screaming. Get out of my business. Is it his business? This is a business. You were the owner. He owns the cafe. Hold on, please.
Hold on, sir.
Hold on, please.
Unbelievable. The level of entitlement. You know, they are so.
This cafe was promised to me 3,000 years ago. You can't do it. It's automatic.
Show their whole asses because any normal person, when asked to leave, will get up and leave. Right? That's a normal person. When you're asked to leave, you might ask why, you might question it, whatever. But by this point, you would have just left. But only a real sociopath is going to sit there and debate it because they're so fucking entitled to be able to do that in someone else's business.
Yeah, it's true. I got kicked out of the Verdi Mart in 2015. That was like the only time I've ever gotten kicked out of somewhere. And it was because the point of the story is that I accepted it, you know? But it was because I didn't pick up my order in time. It was so much bullshit. I'm still very much sore about that. I still can't go into the Verdi Mart to this day.
Now keep in mind, who is filming here? The Zio is filming.
Because I ordered a delivery from the Verdi Mart, and they came to deliver it, and I didn't get I don't know, I didn't hear them or something, and so they left, and then I went to the place, and I told them I still wanted my order, and they said, no, you're out of here. You can't have. It was a 2-piece dark meat. I almost went to jail. I love my 2-piece dark meat.
Of course he is.
Now, I have no doubt whatsoever that upon
surprisingly, Saeed, it had nothing to do with mothers at all.
Entering this cafe, that there was probably this is my theory. Okay, it wasn't.
That's right. Feel bad for me, chat. Feel very bad for me.
Not going to be detailed in this story, but this is my theory. There was a Palestinian flag, probably a poster, pin, or something, either on the doorway.
So in protest, I pulled my pants down and started swinging my chode around like a windmill, and then they kicked me out. So, looking back, that was probably not the right move.
Counter, wherever it was, and the person in question saw it and decided to either take out his Star of David necklace or something resembling the state of Israel. And
I think
I did, and then I got escorted out of the shop by a police officer, and I said, "This is like another Holocaust."
It said he's wearing a hat with the Star of David on it.
Wearing a hat with the Star of David. So we all know what type of hat that is. It's the Israel flag on a hat.
Correct.
So to suggest that this person didn't know the place that he was going into, I don't buy it for a second. I think he knew exactly where he was going.
He went in there to antagonize. Absolutely. Yeah. He knew exactly what he was doing. He purposely wore that in there. It's the equivalent of a MAGA hat in terms of it really is. It's very triggering.
Daddy's Little Wet. My favorite profile name. Guys, Daddy's Little Wet is here. You know the cafe I'm talking about? No way. You have no idea. You're making this up.
And you're allowed to ask people to leave your business. You're allowed to.
Yep.
Gentleman asked me to leave because of my hat. This is a violent hat and you need to leave.
It's a violent hat. I mean, unironically based.
It's violent. It's violent. I'm sorry. This man cannot ask me to leave because
I can. It's my business, bro.
No, he can't.
It's my business.
You can't refuse someone.
I can.
You totally can. That's called free market capitalism, bucko. I thought you guys loved that. He can absolutely refuse service to you. It doesn't matter. He could say, your eyes are too close together on your head. We don't serve you.
Service for a protected class. And
they could say anything.
Protected class. A protected class. Are you
Israeli flag hat wearers?
Protected
hat wearers are a protected class?
I love the outrage. Yes.
This is
infuriating.
I mean, a protected class. Protected class.
Asked me to leave because of a Magen David Dome, which is a Magen David, which is a Jewish star. He can't ask me to leave because of my religion. He can't ask me to leave
because of that.
Yes, you are. You said,
are you a Zionist?
You said.
Are you a Zionist?
I don't have to identify myself by my religion.
And you don't get to claim you're being persecuted for your religion if you're not identified. You don't get to say you're persecuting me for my religion and then say you don't have to identify yourself. Sorry, no. And also, if he were being persecuted for being Jewish, he'd be
protected class, more like projected ass.
Wearing a yarmulke. He's not wearing a yarmulke. He's in there, like Peter said, he knew this was a Palestinian business, and he went in there purposefully. It would be like somebody going into a Dem place purposefully wearing a MAGA hat. He went in there to antagonize.
I gotta tell you, you gotta admit, this guy has some set of testicles to want to pull that shit.
And that hat is violent. That is a violent hat. I agree.
1,000%. Hey, listen, it's like our little friend in Miami who puts the hat on and flashes it on social media constantly saying, I'm triggering people by wearing my proud Jewish hat. It's like, dude, you're going to get your freaking head knocked off. Hopefully by me, but if not by me, then somebody else. They really don't understand that eventually this is not going to work for them anymore.
No.
They're going to end up, they're all pariahs.
Yes.
Every last one of them, including this douche canoe.
Yeah.
Get out. Yes, he does if he's asking me to leave based on a protected class. Are you really, I'm sitting here quiet. We were sitting here quietly playing, I don't, you're wrong, call the police. I don't, they're wrong, call the police. You're going to have a lawsuit. I don't, you're wrong, call the police.
Yeah, I'll call the cops.
Where's my lawyer? Somebody.
Even though it's against my ethos.
Wait till I call Dershowitz.
You walk into an establishment that what, doesn't allow Jews? That doesn't allow Jews?
They are going to play this from now until Kingdom Come.
I still didn't really see what hat he was wearing.
He knows damn straight what that is.
And this is a prime example of why you, Katie...
I find it funny that he's filming his L.
Mr. Finkelstein. There's not enough... There are not enough Jews that speak out against this shit. There's just not. There needs to be a consensus within the Jewish community that separates this shit. I don't care if it's only 25% of the Jewish community, of the Jewish population in the United States that doesn't identify as Zionist. that's still hundreds of thousands of Jews in this country who do not agree with this shit, and they choose to be silent about it, and they allow people like this piece of shit to speak on their behalf, knowing full well what is coming for them as we go forward. It's already happening.
So I can't help but think with everything you said, and if we exchanged it and made it percentage of men that are not those kinds of men, and if those amount of men would actually stand up and say things, then yeah. So everything Peter just said about
Suddenly, all of a sudden, my own shadow was trying to choke me. It's always sneaking up behind me. Ah!
the Jews that are not
Saul Rosenberg.
standing up and saying,
Wait till my lawyer hears about this.
Things are just as complete. It's the same thing for the men that aren't standing up against other men. Same thing. Continue.
And then the guy said I had a violent hat on. And then my shoes fell off. And I couldn't find my glasses. And I can't see without my glasses.
They may not. They may not allow Jews.
And if they may not, that's not on us. And it's not
Excuse
on
me.
you.
It absolutely is. You can't deny service to Jews. No. That was pointed at me and saying,
Not Jews, bitch. Zionists.
If you listen very closely, and this is the funniest part of all of this, whether he's faking it or not, you listen closely to his tone, you could tell he's trying to either hold back tears or he's letting them go for the show.
They may not allow Jews.
And if they may not, that's not on us. And it's not on you.
This is our reality.
Absolutely is. You can't deny service to Jews. No. That was pointed at me and saying I'm not innocent because I have a
You can't do that.
star on my head. You think that they're allowed to discriminate on my religion. They're not allowed to do that. I didn't say anything. I didn't do anything. They are not allowed to. Are they allowed to ask people to leave for being gay?
Oh my God!
So he just compared.
Now he's playing.
I mean, they made the Jews political, okay? Or Jews made the Jews political, whatever you want to say about it, but that's what it is. It's a political statement at this point. It's materially, that's what it is to the world.
Gay card.
Well, no, he just compared being a Zio-Nazi to being gay.
Yeah.
He's comparing him wearing that obnoxious, purposefully triggering hat that announces that he's a genocidal freak, that asking someone like that, you don't want them in your establishment, is comparable to asking a gay person to leave your establishment. That is the same as the people that argue allowing gay marriage will then lead to people marrying their pets. That's how stupid that is.
Oh, God, how many victim cards can you pull out of your ass?
Can't with this.
No, they can't. You are not allowed to discriminate based on a protected class. You let your child, if you were with them, if someone was discriminating based on... You're using your son as a human shield. You're a coward. You're a coward. This guy's using his son as a human shield. Do I seem like a person that's being confrontational here? Using his son as a human shield.
So you're not
These are the people that are around.
You're not making the situation better.
I asked you to trespass him 10 minutes ago. He's still
You
here.
have to hear your side.
There's no
You have to
side.
hear his
There is no side, yeah. I mean, this guy, it's his business. He doesn't want that customer there. They have to throw him out.
There is nothing
End of story.
to hear, lady.
If this was reversed,
She's not.
and that was an Israeli
She's not here to be a moral arbiter of justice. It's just this is how it goes.
restaurant and a Palestinian guy sitting there with a hat on his head that they asked to leave, I don't think she'd be sitting there and discussing that we should be hearing both sides.
No.
That wouldn't even be a discussion.
Just the Jews have lots of money, though. You know, it's like you don't want to piss off powerful people. Palestinians are poor, so like you throw them out of a store or you whatever. What are they gonna do? Write a song? Jews, however, they can deny you a bank loan. They can foreclose your home. They can get you fired from your job.
Am I being trespassed?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. I'll comply with anything that you have.
Please, God, please tell me they're going extinct.
I love Jewish people. I love them. I love them. Tikkun Alu.
Gosh, you know, you're so correct, fart on my balls. Thank you for this truism. Actually, I didn't even read your comment. I just wanted to say your name. Fart on my balls. It's like, it's a toss-up. Who's got the best profile name? Daddy's Little Wet Wet? Or Fart on My Balls? Should we take a poll?
Fuck Israel.
Yes.
Oh, man. It's a tough choice.
And everybody, see, again,
But, you know, really, Salad Noodles, we're here to ask the tough questions. That's what my pledge is to you.
this is what the rest of the world, people from the rest of the world, have a much better understanding of context and nuance.
I
and
bet you would love to take some poll.
able to see shades of gray that we don't tend to see so much in this country. So this man 1,000% knows the difference between a Jew and a Zio. 1,000%. Again, this isn't somebody who is wearing a yarmulke.
And this is the danger that I have constantly tried to remind people. When you cede the real estate to somebody like Nick Fuentes and Dan Bilzerian, you create this environment where you can just say F the Jews, because it's all the Jews, and no one pushes back on it because the Jews don't speak up when they should. And this is a prime example of somebody.
What are you talking about, Daddy's Little Wet Wet? For real, next door to the cafe? You don't even know what cafe I'm talking about. Verdi Mart? Or are you talking about the one in this video? Swinger parties, huh? I knew you were into some freaky shit. You sick fuck.
Who doesn't feel that way, who's like, no, I can make the distinction
Pretty sure I don't want any STDs from your dirty ass.
between somebody who's Jewish and somebody who's a Zionist who happens to be Jewish. That is a man of nuance and a man of culture. And you know what? If I could only have an
shots
opportunity
fired.
to
Thanks
go
a
to
lot,
that
Saeed. Thank you. What are you trying to say? The pot's calling the kettle black? Why, I oughta.
establishment.
Do we know where
I'm very clean. I'm a clean boy.
it is? Do we know where that is?
I'll look into it. I'll see if I can find it. I'll make mention of it on the next
Yeah, we need to find out where this is and go there.
We'll finish it up.
I mean, I did think I had herpes at one point, but it turned out to be not true. Okay. I got a clean bill of health. I thought I had gotten it from your mother, but it turns out that didn't happen. I did have a painful rash. But it healed up. So we're all good now.
Fuck Zionists. I'm trespassing. I trespass.
Why he's saying fuck Israel and fuck Zionism? Can I ask that?
No, you can't.
What?
It's a free country. I can say whatever I want.
But why is he saying it to me?
Bye-bye.
Why is he saying it to me?
Bye-bye. Are you a Zionist? Bye-bye.
Stop! Go outside, please. Go outside.
He went in there purposefully to bait them. He knew that it was a Palestinian establishment. He went in there wearing that hat. He's a total piece of shit. And he.
All right, wait. Let's see. What hat was it? Because I never did see it.
The headline.
See, then it's him. Did we ever see the hat? I don't think
Leave
we
my
did.
business. In front of my son. Get out of my business. Stop screaming. Get out of my business.
Is it his business?
They say, yeah, it was a hat that had the Star of David, but I don't think we ever saw it, so I don't know how that happened. A Krav Maga hat. The tinier the hat, the bigger the privilege. The more precious the victimhood. Tiny hats is people too, folks. Now all I want to do is hear Saul Rosenberg for a second. Saul. That's great. How about the gay model? Oh, goodness.
Hello, may I help you?
Yes.
Yes,
hello.
Hello?
Hello. Are you dental malpractice?
Yes. Well, where did you get our number?
I went to dentist. I went for tooth decay. They did awful thing. He ripped my teeth out my gum. I cannot talk. I cannot eat. He cursed me and hit me while I'm sleeping.
He hit you.
And then he put me under sedation. I wake up, my pants unbuttoned. My teeth gum is dripping blood. I cannot even blow bubbles when I chew gum, when I drive cab.
When I drive cab.
What? I don't believe.
You gotta help me.
Yeah.
They kept cursing me. I went there, I crying. They cursed me, threw me out. You got to help me.
Which dentist is this?
This man named Mr. Rocco on Bronx. Mr. Rocco, Louis Rocco.
Louis Rocco?
It's like looking up the phone number.
I go there for a cab. I stop cab. My tooth hurting. I go in. He say sit down. Then he punch my teeth. I'm bleeding. And then my pants unbuttoned. And then they cuss me.
Okay. Give me a number. Can you give me your number?
Yes. 5553591.
5553390.
Yes. It's
This is not the number.
Then I wake up, my pants unbuttoned.
Okay.
But why they do this thing? They don't. What? Why? I'm new in this country, and then this is the treatment by people.
This
is how they treat my
people.
My name is Ali Kamal.
Can you spell that? Why are you screaming?
My teeth. The guy took my teeth and punched them. I can't make even chew
my teeth and
popcorn,
punched
nothing. You got to help me, Allah. I pray to Allah that somebody help me.
Allah.
Please help me. This man must be stopped.
No, did you call another firm?
No, I call you.
Where did you get our number?
From newspaper.
Newspaper.
Okay, I'm too much pain. Too much pain.
Okay, bye.
What's the one where he's like, yeah, I want to burn her house down? The home wrecker. God, what did women have to put up with in the 90s? Oh, that's right, Jeffrey Epstein. Okay, that was fun. That was fun. Come on, you liked it.
If you could send one message to Americans 50 years in the future, what would it be?
Don't send your sons to finish what politicians start.
Damn. That was 1969. I don't think we learned our lesson. We saw this Zionist bitch freak out. What is this?
Did you send a cock pic?
Yeah.
After he told you the age?
Yeah, I did.
Okay, so you know that's yeah, he came to meet a 15-year-old.
Yeah, I thought this was probably a setup, and I thought, well, I'm going to come anyway because I told him I'd be here, and I had a feeling that it probably was.
I got a yes. But you know that's illegal, right?
Yeah, I know it's illegal.
Yeah. So you gotta think from our perspective, right? If you're already sending dick pics, already talking sexual to the kid, right? And you're showing up, what does that look like?
This thing has a dick? I want you all to imagine what that dick pic must have looked like. No, don't do that, actually.
Well, it doesn't show good, but
Right.
the thing is, if a young person is doing this, he
Mhm.
needs to be told not to do this, too.
Yes.
How old did I tell you?
Oh, it's really it's the victim's fault, actually. It's the 15-year-old that shouldn't be doing this.
Wasn't a good thing.
And why is it not a good thing? What do you think?
Yeah, because he's underage.
Because he's underage.
Right. That's what I told him. I said, this is not a good thing.
Yeah, what did you talk about in the
But
chat?
I'm gonna meet you anyway.
Because I have them right here, sir. That's what I'm asking.
Well, we talked about a lot of things, and then I thought, well...
He's so defiant. He's like, yeah, I'm caught, but you know what? Sure, we're here. I did nothing wrong. It was her fault.
Took Sharon thought, I shouldn't even go over there, but I thought, I said I would, and I'm a man of my honor.
He's a man of honor, he says. I wasn't gonna meet this child who I knew was a child, but I gave the child my word after I sent the dick pic, and...
That this is not a good thing. He better not do this.
I'm a man of honor.
And this is against the law, and I was stupid for doing this, and that he should not be doing this.
Yes, abusing children is evil. Why are you showing me this? This is an Israeli patriotic song. Oh my goodness. That's terrible. Sophia, you are put on timeout. You're being put on notice. This is your warning. You send shit like that our way again, you're out of here toot sweet. You understand what that means? That means really quickly. The Vaush pit? You sent me a Vaush clip? Are you crazy out of your mind?
2026 because I'm running.
I'm running.
I get it. Grandma, are you okay? I don't think she can run in her condition. You see her shaking? She's been like this for years, but now that she's officially in the race, I guess people are paying more attention to it. Collins is younger than Mills, but in a lot of ways she looks less sturdy. Who's Collins?
Fuck Vaush. Does anybody even still watch him?
This is a Russian PT-76, the current Red Army amphibious tank. It is now the property of the United States. It was not given to us by the Russians, nor did we purchase it, nor did we capture it in battle. You could say that it was obtained, all 15 tons of it, through intelligence channels. Or you could say we stole it. Once upon a time, spying or espionage was a fairly straightforward game. But we have come a long way rather quickly from Mata Hari. There is something new in the science of spying. It's not just stealing military hardware and secret plans, but using tanks and plans and men to promote our policies around the world and sometimes to overthrow governments we don't like. In the spy business, the dagger is replacing the cloak. And that is what this program is about.
There you go. They say the quiet part out loud.
During the past few years, the Central Intelligence Agency has embarked on a rebranding campaign to market itself as a noble, inclusive, and even woke organization. This is in part to erase its dark history, which was once more widely known in the United States. It struggled through decades of controversy, saw their methods scrutinized in the public eye, and they had a reputation for being immoral and unethical, to say the least. But the post-9/11 era opened an opportunity to rehabilitate their image, gain new approval in the public eye. That now they're a force for good. And all that assassination and death squad stuff, well, that's all in the past. Their current rebrand is just the latest phase of this makeover. and in a climate where they now have widespread acceptance in popular culture, academia, and news media. Which is why it's so important to document their true legacy and explore why these operations are not just part of their history, but part of their present. That under this progressive veil, they remain the same sinister organization. It's a huge topic to explore, spanning 7 decades and a seemingly infinite list of crimes. But before we jump into the CIA stories, ranging from the utterly absurd to the downright evil, we need to understand how and why the CIA was created in the first place. To do that, I'm joined by Douglas Valentine, author of several books on the
Hey, thank you. Music, MCC Music, Iranian Civil Code, Article 1041. Oh, God, here we go. This guy is still going on. He's still going on. He's on his 5th account. He really needs us to understand that we should hate Iran. Look at their Civil Code, Article 1041. Look at it. Well, I guess we should be blowing up schoolgirls in the Middle East. Certainly we should intervene in their country, obviously. And, blow up their children, because, that would be the responsible thing. We've got to save them from themselves. I mean, let's not talk about the pedophiles in the White House, of course. Yeah, let's deal with them first. What do you say? The dude's on his 4th account. He's just here to try to get people to hate Iran for some weird reason. Like, what are you doing? What do you think that you're doing? Are we supposed to now give legitimacy to American interventionism? Does this mean that Donald Trump is actually doing a good thing? Because you cited some civil code, what? He's desperate to make me rich, it seems like it. What does he think he's doing? It's more tone deaf, the fact that we're actually dealing with a whole shadow cabal of pedophiles in the West. But we should hate Iran because allegedly there's 8-year-old marriages happening there. And I'm sure the guy's telling the truth, right? Thank you so much, Saeed. I appreciate that. That is very nice of you. My Qatari funds just hit my bank account, so that we're good to go. But what the fuck? He's got a ton of money to spam the same attempt to equate underage marriage, a problem in many countries, with child trafficking. Yeah, I mean, we could do this all fucking day. It's just weird because no country is, pure. There's all kinds of bad things happening everywhere, right? It doesn't mean that we can now go bomb them because we don't like how they're running their society. I thought this was America first. I thought we're supposed to take care of our own problems here. In Russia, they clone mice? My God, let's BOMB Moscow right away. Even if it's somehow true, it doesn't make me hate all Iranians. I only hate those who participate in that. Right. There are all kinds of horrible things happening everywhere. Thank you. And if whether or not it's true or not, I'm not going to accept this troll's comment at face value. What do you think you're doing? You're a keyboard warrior trying to get people to go along with your narrative in a live stream? It's just so silly.
CIA, including the CIA's organized crime and the Phoenix program, America's use of terror in Vietnam. Douglas, thanks so much.
Look, I'm sure he'll be back with his 5th account. He's probably making it right now.
For joining me. Can you first start by explaining exactly how and why the CIA got its start?
Thank you. Tons of racist and sexist laws on the books in the United States, but let's pro-clutch about Iran. I'm sure it's a big problem.
The CIA grew out of the Office of Strategic Services in World War II. President Roosevelt knew that the United States was going to eventually have to get into the war.
Also, all of my analysis is as an American. You know, I'm an American citizen. I'm speaking from the West. I'm speaking from the Imperial Core. I'm sharing with you my analysis as an American about my own government. And the thing about it is, my government happens to be the most consequential government on earth. It's why this is so important, education. We have to pay attention, acknowledge, and critique what is principle, what is significant. The most significant contradiction in the world right now is United States hegemony. It's United States imperialism. I am an American citizen. I am witnessing my government carry out war crimes against the Iranian people. I don't know everything about the Iranian society. I don't need to know anything really about an Iranian civilization to know that it's wrong to start wars of aggression against other countries because I don't like their domestic policies. Let the Iranians figure out their country for themselves, just like, you know, the right to self-determine was afforded to all sovereign people and countries, implemented largely by the United States. That was the principal right to self-determine. You know, I mean, that's like a universal right. It's not like it's anything new, but it was at least codified yet again by the UN. And we're talking about this from that perspective. I don't think, you know, it's the same as saying, like, you know, Hamas or the Palestinians, they banned gay marriage or something, or they, you know, they make all kinds of lies about Middle East life, and we hear it all the time. I mean, it's like I've been brought up in this culture of Islamophobia, and it's all been lies. And you know, you got to beware of people that in this time, in this context of all things to be talking about, you're going to be talking about Iran and its domestic policies, whatever. Like, I'm not Iranian. If I was Iranian and that was a true thing, I would be advocating against it, no doubt. But I'm not. I'm an American, and I'm witnessing a war crime against the Iranians right now, committed by my government with my money. I don't think any domestic policy of any country is worth or justified my country attacking them. I don't see what's so hard to understand about that. And, you know, I can do nothing about the crimes of the Iranian government. I'm an American citizen. I have a small but not insignificant amount of influence over my government's policies. That's what's important. That's why I focus on the crimes of my own government. And I don't point the finger at others. And I you know, especially considering the power dynamic that the United States exerts on the entire world. Everything that we do has a large consequence. You know, there's a lot of causal links between U.S. foreign policy and the state of the world itself. So not only am I an American citizen, but, you know, I'm a citizen of a country that is a hegemon. And, you know, I don't know what else to say really about it, except that, that's where I stand with it. Okay. Does anybody have anything else they'd like to add? Oops, sorry, farted. Thank you, Thugbone. Thank you, Buddy Head. Look at that. We got Buddy Head in the chat. My most esteemed friend. In real life, actually. Buddy Head, you guys know him. What's up, Buddy Head? It's infuriating for them to use our shared resources to destroy lives while we protest and rage. Zionists are always protecting, mate. It's plain and simple. I mean, look at what Epstein class is doing. That's another thing. It's like, look at the Trump administration. You want to cry about pedophilia anywhere in the world? Let's start with the White House. I mean, there's a huge governmental scandal, international scandal about pedophilia and pedophilia networks. I don't see Iran in the Epstein files. What Iranian is in the Epstein files? Do we know one? Are there any? And the funny part is that troller, he's talking about 8-year-old girls and the crimes of the Iranian government towards these 8-year-old girls. Meanwhile, we're killing 8-year-old girls. The United States is killing 8-year-old girls in Iran. Many of them. Droves and droves.
And he wanted to be able to have a force that could report to him on what was happening around the world. That's why it's called the Strategic Services Group. It would be able to go into places where the United States military was not conducting operations. It would be able to go into places that the Germans and the Japanese occupied. And its job during
No amount of cultural nonsense is going to justify international terrorism and violence, okay?
War II was to go into occupied territories clandestinely, to insert teams in that nobody knew they were there. And this involved creating false documents, smuggling people into countries, and establishing them undercover in these occupied territories. Their first job was to conduct sabotage and subversive activities against the occupation forces. And they did the same thing in Burma and in Indochina and in China itself. They were a clandestine unit that was secretly inserted into occupied territories, established themselves undercover, and then began to conduct sabotage and subversion and psychological warfare operations to try to undermine the morale of the occupying forces. They also then, as they established themselves in these occupied territories, would begin to organize with the resistance in order to actually fight the occupational forces, to create militia groups that would actually engage in paramilitary battles.
Yep, he sure did, didn't he?
And established significant agent networks all throughout the world. One of their jobs, apart from sabotage and subversion and psychological warfare, was to collect secret intelligence, to create agent nets, which nobody knew about.
That's really interesting. So they were playing what could be seen as a good role during the war by working with communists against Nazi and Japanese occupation forces. So what changed after World War II?
So all these things were in place at the end of World War II. The president at that time, Truman, wanted to keep the OSS in business, but the military and the State Department, and especially J. Edgar Hoover and the FBI, did not want the OSS to continue to exist.
Apparently J. Edgar Hoover was a Hoover for the cock.
Those
Did you know
three
that?
forces, the military establishment, the State Department, which was involved with trying to conduct political operations with the world, and the military was trying to conduct military operations around the world, and the FBI, which was involved in intelligence. Those three parts of the government did not want the OSS to exist. At the same time, the military was demobilizing. The military at that time, the U.S. Armed Forces, had 12 million people in uniform around the world, and all those guys wanted to go home. And within a year, the military was down to like just over 1 million people. 90% of the soldiers in World War II went home, and they were glad to go home. And people were sick of the war, but, and this is where the CIA comes into being, the Soviet Union was making gains in Western Europe. It was conducting psychological warfare and agent operations inside Italy and inside France and throughout Western Europe. And the same thing in Asia. Communist China would not actually emerge until 1949, but they were really posed a great threat to American industrialists. And so President Truman decided he needed to keep the vestige of the OSS in place. And over the next 2 or 3 years, that initial force, which was originally called a Central Intelligence Group, continued to exist in Europe and Asia. And it was very, very small groups of people. The strategic services units were part of the military, and they continued to conduct military covert operations in Europe and in Asia, and against the communists in those countries. The Cold War had begun, and the CIA in its initial phases was aimed 100% against...
Unfortunately for you, nobody gives a fuck about the Lego guy. We give a fuck about a war of aggression against Iran, and you're speaking in that context, so watch your fucking mouth.
The Soviets and the Chinese communists. That's what it was existing to do. And it steadily grew. And so did its operations. And its operations were the same as it was in the OSS. They would send teams, basically 3 types of groups, into areas that the Soviets occupied in Europe or were contesting with the Soviets in Europe, and likewise with the communist Chinese.
And what were those 3 types of groups, and what did they do?
Like, I'm sorry, dude, Donald Trump is a pedophile, and he is in a class of pedophiles. So cry harder about it. I don't know. Maybe let's point out the Lego guy's hypocrisy for saying that Donald Trump is a pedophile. Not my president. Shut up.
One kind of group was involved in special intelligence, and that's setting up agent nets that nobody knows about, so that you can know what the enemy's plans and strategies are.
What?
This early group, which became the CIA at the end of 1947, created what was called a Foreign Intelligence Unit, and they would work with friendly governments and the intelligence services of friendly governments and the police forces of friendly governments, so that they could establish bases in France and Italy, where they were operating into these areas in Europe that were occupied by the Soviets. Those are secret intelligence networks. That's considered the cloak and dagger stuff of the CIA. And then with the military, they were sending in paramilitary groups to work with resistance groups inside these occupied territories. And they would create militias like they do all over the world now. And they would
Our country is starting World War III, and it's run by a satanic cabal of pedophilic billionaires. But the Lego guy's a hypocrite, guys.
Them, and they would bring in guns and communications radios and stuff like that. And then the third group was called political and psychological operations, and that was basically handled in coordination with the...
Okay, you're bored with that? Fine. Here's something you won't be bored with. This is the troller we have. This is our message to him. You gotta chew your food.
I have also been barred today from the Norfolk, Virginia VFW, where the USS Liberty veterans had moved my speech to during the memorial service for their fallen brothers, who again were murdered by Israeli Jews. The local media, they're now calling up a bunch of kikes to go on the news and cry and kvetch. Get me the closest rabbi. Bring him to me now. We need the rabbi on the news to talk about how dangerous I am, to talk about how prolific of an anti-Semite I am, about how I stand accused of anti-Semitism of the highest order in the eyes of their Talmudic court of injustice.
Talmudic court of injustice. That's good. That's good. A Jewish man was caught on camera bargaining with a black prostitute like a pathetic broke crackhead, begging for a discount.
Love is much more to life than just words. Love is much more than to say you love. Love is call on me brother. Love is call on me sister. When you love someone.
He's like, how about 5 shekels? She's like, no. How about 6 shekels?
Love from the heart, 'cause love is the start, yeah. Love is the answer.
She's like, no deal.
For a quick question, just ask yourself.
The fuck is that song?
Guys, I really don't care that our gas price...
Oh, we got a Saeed link. How honored and privileged are we tonight? Saeed with the...
Guys, I really don't...
I hope it's good, Saeed, okay? You're not above critique here. I'm just fucking with you. Why is this not doing what I wanted to do?
Guys, I really don't care that our gas prices went up. As long as Iran doesn't have a nuclear weapon and we can save the Iranians from the Islamic regime, I will pay $2 extra for gas.
You're not paying $2 extra for gas. You're paying $2 extra a gallon for gas. And it's probably more than that by now.
Everyone should be free. Bye.
Okay.
Wow,
Okay, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. You're right. You did pay to spread the lies, and I would never be anti-you. Never. Not ever. Look at that. Saeed's being spiritually Israeli right now. He wants VIP status. Do you know who I am? Says Saeed. This is like another Holocaust. He's not playing my links.
So rich for these rich LA Persians to wax poetic about how it's worth paying $2 extra to free Iranians. Now, I don't know what getting squeezed at the pump has to do with freeing Iranians, but it's amazing how tone
as long
deaf
as we can free those Iranians, I will pay extra for gas.
And blind to their privilege they are. Of course, it's easy for a bunch of people.
A protected, what, SS class? Saeed's a member of the SS. I knew it.
People who took money from their country and ran away to Los Angeles and spent their time advocating for war and the worst.
He's a protected class.
Ideologies. It's simple for those people to spend a few more dollars at the pump. Gas is already $8 or $9 there, and they're driving their supercars, paying for their most expensive, unleaded, whatever, super premium gas. But for us normal Americans, people who have grown up in places like Detroit, like me, the gas prices hurt. It's not easy.
Yeah, it's like, guys, I know you paid $104 on gas to fill up your tank today, but look at the silver lining. We did blow up a school full of elementary girls.
And it's funny, they want Americans who are getting squeezed in
Sorry, it's a dark joke, but these are dark times. I don't know what to make of it.
every direction to think that there's some nuclear threat. This is something they've pulled out recently. They never used to talk about it, but now
You're in Thailand? Wow.
Say, oh, you know, Iran shouldn't have nukes. You're going to get nuked. Oh, you American who's getting destroyed by the system, getting screwed by the likes of Donald Trump. Instead of the wealth of this country working for you, instead of your life getting better, it's getting spent on wars overseas for other countries. But it's okay because otherwise you might get nuked. Does anyone even really believe this anymore? Is there any working...
No, I don't believe that, but I do believe the kamikaze dolphins.
Last person in America looking
that
at
shit is real.
Gas pump, pumping $5, $10, thinking, well, it's all worth it because now I won't get nuked. You people have never been there, perhaps. You Angelino, Los Angeles, Pahlavi supporters. But I've been there. Growing up in Detroit, I know what it's like to pump $5 or $10 in gas, to pump $2 in gas even, believe it or not. Yeah, that happens there too.
I'm pretty sure Los Angeles has like $8 a gallon at this point.
I'm just getting sick of how tone deaf these people are, how shameless they are. If they had a little shame, maybe by now they'd turn around and say, we were wrong all along.
Guys, I really don't care that our...
What a dumb bitch. You stupid bitch. What instrument is that?
أنا اللي اسمي يكفيني أنا الصامد على أرضي ورافع على السما جبيني فلسطيني فلسطيني فلسطيني.
It's like a big flute. That's what your mom calls my...
Israeli-Iranian couple. Married
They exist?
Why didn't he say it like, send us to the Middle East, we'll fix that shit. Show them how to get along. So what, you ever visit the region or no? All the time. You go to Tel Aviv? Nice. Yeah, I've never been to the capital of the United States, but that's very cool that you've been there. So you're Jewish and you're Muslim? Wow. And so the baby's gonna be... Why? Because you're winning? Or... yeah, we decide whichever one wins. We're gonna give the baby that.
Your wife wants to know what the secret is to my fabulous hair. It's your mother's orgasm juice, which I use on the daily. Keeps my my hair fresh and pungent, healthy and vibrant and voluminous.
So why is the baby gonna be Jewish?
We're not religious in that way. We celebrate.
And I rub it in my hair for like 30 minutes in the shower, just doing this. And I go, ooh, ah. And I whisper sweet nothings to it. Because you have to tell your hair little secrets in order for it to grow big.
So the only holiday you guys both celebrate is 9/11.
That's my favorite holiday too. Lots and lots and lots of all the way attention to her needs. It produces a lot. What can I say? She manufactures a lot of that juice. Juice! Sorry, I have Tourette's. It's the juice! Excuse me. God bless me. Gato surfer with another L. What is this ugly creature? I'm just kidding. It's very cute. Look at that thing. Hey, what'd that tongue do, though? Yeah, it reminds me of... Suddenly, I just think... For no reason whatsoever, I'm just thinking, I should really call your mom. Gosh, I should call her.
Don't touch the land! Don't touch the land! Get off the land! This is not your land! Why are you here? Why are you here? Why are you here?
Notorious.
Look at the man with the block on his head. You cannot come here. I have tiny block on head.
Why are you here? Why are you here?
And I smoke a peep.
Why are you here?
Notorious settlers who expelled more than 1,000 Palestinians in Ras Al Ain and southern Jordan Valley right now relocated and built an outpost in Taibe in East
Do not fuck with the Jews.
Ramallah.
With all the people and the children.
Yeah, they always look so like, look at this guy. He's like, oh yeah, I do some evil shit. Yes, we told them we come for your children. Yeah.
The Palestinians slay so many years. So many years. Come to dance, come. We're doing dance class.
There's just never any genuine sincerity, no humanity in their eyes, in their behavior. You can always tell when you're talking to an Israeli. You can always see it. Even before they talk, you can see it in their eyes. The cynicism, the contempt, the entitlement, the sadism, the malevolence.
Group dance, we're we're doing retreat.
Since pneumonia.
Yeah, he looks like he was from... now I'm starting to think maybe they are from 3,000 years ago. Look at the way the guy's dressed.
They brought their sheep, donkeys, and camels.
They brought their shit donkeys. Did she say shit donkeys?
And built a sheep pen just 5
sheep, sorry.
meters from the Palestinian homes. Oh my God! Soldiers who are right now present here and obviously absolutely hate their job keep repeating us that settlers are allowed to be here.
בסוף מותר להם גם פה מותר להם להיות פה.
לא. And shaking hands with them, smiling. Nothing new. The settlers already managed to cut the fence to Palestinian sheep pens.
Yeah, and I think the settlers, they take matters into their own hands, as we know, and in many cases, they're worse than the IDF. You can kind of see that here. Because, like, the IDF is still formally, like, an instrument of the Israeli government, and so there are certain rules or whatnot. Not that they're inclined to follow them, but with settlers like that, they can do things outside of the realm of the government. In other words, they can do things without government oversight and not be held accountable.
And just like that, the lives of 20 Palestinian families here in Taibe have changed. For them, it means no sleep at night and guarding their houses day and night, being constantly on alert.
Чебурашка and crocodile Gena? Tak, no? Irit Чебурашка, Irit crocodile Gena. Yo!
What's your name?
Yo! Wow!
Shapaklak, tak, no, Shapaklak. Mnie zwaty Shapaklak.
For the past
Look, he's using a phone, but he's dressed like he's from Babylonia.
several hours we were on the tug by the settlers who were throwing stones at us and cutting the fence.
הם זורקים עלינו אבנים, אתה מבין? בוא אני אראה לך.
אני לא משקר. אני מישהו שלא מאמין לו, אין לי מה לדבר. יאללה ביי. תמיד כאן בשבילכם.
The army came and declared this area a closed military zone, which means that they're kicking out both us and the settlers. Currently, settlers are leaving, but according to our experience, it doesn't mean they won't come back.
Here, I see only front.
Oh. You enjoying the view?
Now, no.
No?
No.
They're like, it's a cult. I mean, that's what you see in their eyes. You see, oh, they're in a cult. It's like, what have they been? They've been fed this entitlement, this supremacist ideology, and they're acting on it. Now you see, now I really need to call your mom. I miss her, man. Oh, man, that's good technique. Wow. I am rock hard right now. Why is that? I feel weird. Oh, get it, Grandma? Throat goat. Why? Talk about gluck gluck. Jack, are you mental? Look, this is the guy that posted it, and it's a picture of The Shining. So it looks like it's a picture of an Israeli, really. That's what they look like. You can see it in the eyes. How did this remind me of a mom? Are you sure? Well, I mean, did you see it? I mean, I think it's pretty evident, you know? There was the act of wrapping your mouth around a phallic-looking object and blowing it. I mean, that's what could be more emblematic of your mother than that. I mean, that's what she's known for.
Lárgate de mi país, sionista de mierda.
And she's great at it.
Lárguese, no lo queremos
Not just any mom, Saeed. Your mom.
acá. Asesinos de bebés, criminales de guerra, miserables asesinos. Nadie los quiere acá. Lárguense de acá. Fuera de acá. Desde 1948 comete genocidio y apartheid en Palestina. Y Palestina será libre. Palestina
Oh, I'm
será
sorry,
libre.
Sam. Am I boring you? You know, you're right. It is getting late. And you know, I've hit the 4-hour mark. And that's my status quo for the day. Look, is it this... If you enjoy these funny prank calls, this will amuse you.
911, what's your emergency?
There's a bottle of conditioner in me.
What?
My wife and I belong to a wholesale club and got a really big bottle of Mother Jeffrey's male hair conditioner.
Oh, my goodness. Saeed, did you call this in?
Huh?
We were in the shower and we put it in me, but it went all the way in.
Your wife put the bottle in...
my behind.
We're going to send an ambulance. Can you wait?
Mm-hmm, yeah.
Are you all right?
Oh, yeah, I was just a little surprised.
I would be surprised too.
I'm sorry, 1 second. Sweetie, can you please get the cat out of here?
The ambulance is about...
Who leaked my call? Very good, very good.
Minutes away.
Oh, no, I can really feel it.
Bottle?
I think I'm going to sneeze.
Is that bad?
Oh.
Hey, it came out. No, where's the cat?
Oh, my God. I was about to say, you're about to call an ambulance? That's an expensive prank. But I'm glad it had a happy ending. You heard the bottle drop? That was probably the funniest part.
Is that bad?
Hey, it came out.
That really did sound like it came out, too. I mean, if it's a prank, that was pretty good sound effects. Rathbone mentioned this. It will explain people's mentality. Confabulation. Yes, a neuropsychiatric symptom where a person creates false memories, stories, or explanations to fill gaps in their memory without the intent to deceive. Known as honest lying. The individual genuinely believes their fabricated stories are true. It is commonly linked to dementia and brain injury. So, Donald Trump? You just explained Donald Trump. Or described him, I should say. Well, who am I to judge? Oh, excuse me. Sorry about that. Oh, had a little bit too much Mexican food earlier today. Anyway, I want you to know that I love you, and I'm very happy that you decided to show up today. Hope you had a good time. Excuse me, Wrath is not coming on anything, okay? Don't you fucking dare come on me. I'll come on you for trying to come on me. You see how that works? Do you see what happens when you a stranger in the I love you too. All right, guys. I guess I'm going to sign off now. Thanks so much for everything. I'm bad at goodbyes, okay? But just know that nothing can stop us. We are going to persevere. It's going to get better. There's nothing that can take us. Honey?
FBI